In fact, Giant Sun Immortal had already done this before the battle in Crazed Demon Cave. Inside the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool. Gray flames were burning intensely. They were as large as a hill. Wood path immortal materials were thrown in one by one. They melted like candles. And at the bottom of the flames, there was a piece of 10,000-year profound ice. Rank 8 Immortal Goo Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was sealed inside the profound ice. The defending Goo Immortals had nervous expressions, but now that they had been refining Goo for more than 10 days, their expressions were filled with excitement and joy. All the immortal materials have melted. At this rate, the refinement will succeed in another 10 days or so. What an amazing Goo refinement method. On the surface, it seems to be fire refinement and ice refinement. But in truth, it is a perfect fusion of human isolation style and hairy man nature style Goo refinement profundity. There are still many crucial parts that are filled with mysteries. Even if we participated in the process and witnessed it personally, we cannot understand the reason behind it. Master is truly a refinement path venerable. The difference between us and Master is like the distance between heaven and earth. But right at this time, Feng Yuan's expression sank. Oh no, the Goo refinement is about to fail. An intense refinement path intuition instantly filled his heart. Feng Yuan did not doubt this judgment. He instantly knew the truth. There was a problem with the processing of the wood path immortal materials. These wood path immortal materials seemed to be fine, but in fact, every step had tiny flaws. These flaws accumulated until they reached a certain scale, destroying the entire refinement. There was no need to continue like this. Feng Yuan decisively gave the order to stop this Goo refinement. What? Why did you stop it? Everything was perfect. Idiot, since Master made a decision, it must be correct. Our strength is too small. How can we understand? We just need to listen to orders and act. In 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool, the dozen or so Goo immortals were flustered. They started to gradually stop the Goo refinement. After spending close to a day and a night, under the full effort of Feng Yuan and the rest, the first refinement stopped on its own. The large amount of rank 9 immortal materials that were invested earlier were all wasted. The dozen or so Goo immortals all had some light injuries. 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool was also damaged. What made Feng Yuan's heart ache the most was the expenditure of yellow apricot immortal essence. And as the main person in charge of the immortal Goo refinement, his injuries were the heaviest. Immortal killer move, refine self. Feng Yuan activated the killer move, refining many of the mixed wood path and refinement path Dao marks while rejoicing inwardly. And the time left for Feng Yuan was very little. Feng Yuan estimated that he would only have one chance. No, one chance is too few. Experience has proven that even though I am a rank 9 refinement path venerable, the success rate of refining rank 9 immortal Goo is far lower than rank 8. It seems that I need to give it a try. Feng Yuan immediately ordered as he Chun Xiu, who was inside the sovereign immortal aperture, started to move again. Time path killer moves were activated one after another. The sovereign immortal aperture's time flow increased again. But Feng Yuan had to pay an even greater price for this. Because the time path methods he used earlier were too short, the effect was almost negligible. To forcefully increase the immortal aperture's time flow, Feng Yuan used other time path killer moves. Yi Chun Xiu's time path Dao marks were almost all expended. It could be said that Feng Yuan's time path clone was crippled. But in the current situation where spring-autumn cicada could not be used, it was not a big deal that the time path clone was crippled. After reorganizing everything, Feng Yuan started to refine Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus again, as if he was racing against time. Chapter 2262. Inside the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. Quick, replace me, I can't hold on for much longer. Let me. Huff huff, we finally survived another wave. Inside 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool, the assisting Goo immortals were breathing heavily. After the first failure, Feng Yuan had failed twice in a row. He did not lack rank 9 wood path immortal materials, but time was running out. This made Feng Yuan use a more radical method. He modified the Goo refinement steps. The rank 8 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus still had to be protected, but the previous steps had become simpler. Because of this, the Immortal Essence expenditure became more intense, and each step became more complicated. The assisting Gu Immortals needed to use all their strength. Evidently, these Gu Immortals had reached their limits. Fang Yuan's main body frowned deeply. Several days passed. The two venerables did not make a move, but the situation was getting worse for him. Not only was there no improvement in the rank 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus Refinement, the repair of heaven form had also become more difficult. The fusion of black and white heavens of the immemorial era had already reached its most intense moment. The sky above the 5 regions was completely black and white, and it was constantly changing. In some areas, it was day and night at times. The mortals, birds, and beasts were all terrified. They felt like the apocalypse was coming. The path of the vast sun had changed. Everything that stood in its way, be it the dark clouds or the army of soul beasts, was crushed to smithereens. Heaven Form Crane cried out continuously. Fang Yuan used refinement path methods repeatedly, but could only alleviate its injuries. Heaven Form Crane's injuries were accumulating, but Fang Yuan had also reached his limits. He could not modify Heaven Form any further. After all, he was secretly in charge of the rank 9 Immortal Gu refinement. The most important thing is still time. Giant Sun Immortal and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable are probably about to stop. Fang Yuan had already given the 3rd Star Eyes Immortal Gu to Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, stabilizing her for some time. Furthermore, Fang Yuan had been negotiating with Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal. He was trying to stall for time with the proposal of trading Immortal Gu. During this period, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal also used investigative methods to investigate Fang Yuan's situation. Fortunately, Obscured Heavenly Secret had good effects. It concealed the situation for Fang Yuan. Right now, Fang Yuan had expended a lot of his immortal elemental energy. His reserves were extremely low, and his combat power had dropped drastically. If the truth were to be exposed, it would definitely attract the joint attack of the two venerables. Hinterland of Northern Plains. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable looked at the black and white sky as bright light flashed in her eyes. It's about time. This is the most crucial moment of the fusion of the two heavenly veins, as well as the most intense moment. If Fang Yuan really survives it, heaven form might be preserved. But how is this possible? Star Constellation Immortal Venerable smiled lightly. She suddenly moved, turning into a flash of starlight and vanishing. She flew all the way and soon returned to the crazed demon cave. With great familiarity, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable entered the 9th layer void. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was trapped here. He saw Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and roared furiously, attacking her. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was prepared. She blocked Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's attack, while activating a method to create a tunnel. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable flew into the tunnel, while Spectral Soul Demon Venerable chased after her. They arrived at the outside world of Northern Plains. What? Almost at the same time, Fang Yuan and Giant Sun Immortal sensed something. Does Star Constellation Immortal Venerable want to release Spectral Soul Demon Venerable and use him to slaughter Northern Plains living beings? Giant Sun Immortal frowned. He had already considered this possibility, but this was not Celestial Court style. Sure enough, Giant Sun Immortal guessed correctly. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable retreated while fighting. She lured Spectral Soul Demon Venerable all the way to the two heavens. Fang Yuan is in trouble. Giant Sun Immortal heaved a sigh of relief. He started to gloat. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, what are you doing? Fang Yuan immediately used Jewel Yellow Skies to interrogate her. He said in an angry tone, I just gave you 3 immortal goo. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable smiled. Precisely so. Let me tell you a secret that no one knows about. Back then, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable did not want to create Soul Path. He wanted to create Killing Path. He was a destined person. He naturally had great luck and countless fortuitous encounters. Once when he explored immemorial Black Heaven, do you know what he encountered? Star constellation Immortal Venerable's tone was subtle. Feng Yuan heard this, and his expression sank. A thought appeared in his mind. This was not hard to guess. Firstly, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's condition had always been abnormal. He had lost his humanity during the battle in Crazed Demon Cave. He even took the initiative to fill the hole in the fetal wall. Secondly, look at Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's current actions. She spent so much effort to lure Spectral Soul Demon Venerable to the immemorial two heavens. It was clear that she wanted to harm Feng Yuan. But how could she harm Feng Yuan? Even though heaven form could only stay in immemorial white heaven, and was on the verge of collapsing, it could still move around freely. Thus, in theory, Feng Yuan only needed to avoid fighting, and use heaven form to move around to avoid Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. By then, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable would lose his rationality. He would only target Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. After all, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable felt the greatest threat from Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. But now, since Star Constellation Immortal Venerable did this, she definitely had a method to make Spectral Soul Demon Venerable deal with Feng Yuan. Combined with Feng Yuan's current situation, there was a very likely answer. Feng Yuan snorted coldly. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable revealed the truth as expected. It seems that Feng Yuan has already guessed it. Back then, before Spectral Soul became a Demon Venerable, he had already grasped food path methods. Once, when he was exploring immemorial Black Heaven, he unexpectedly encountered an immemorial Black Heaven's heavenly spirit. Spectral Soul was very eager to create his own killing path. He saw a huge opportunity to create his own killing path from this heavenly spirit. Thus, he used food path methods to devour this immemorial Black Heaven heavenly spirit, fusing it with himself. Immemorial Black Heaven's heavenly spirit. Back then, since Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable could encounter the natural heavenly spirit of White Heaven, why did he not encounter immemorial Black Heaven? It turned out that the Black Heaven heavenly spirit was devoured by Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Feng Yuan, I will accept these 3 immortal goo. I need to return to Northern Plains and refine Wisdom Path Dao marks. I will leave Spectral Soul Demon Venerable to you. After saying this, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable turned around. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable saw that she was leaving, but he showed a hesitant expression. He stared at Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's departing figure, but then turned to look at Feng Yuan's direction, as if there was something there that attracted him. Feng Yuan's expression was grim. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was still above Northern Plains, but he sensed Eastern Sea's heaven form killer move. Evidently, after devouring Black Heaven's heavenly spirit, even if he did not comprehend killing path, he grasped many profundities and created soul path. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was trapped in the 9th layer's void, and could not sense it. He might not be able to sense it in the 5 regions, but in the immemorial 2 heavens, he could sense it clearly. Black Heaven's heavenly spirit and White Heaven's heavenly spirit are respectively responsible for immemorial Black Heaven and White Heaven. They are like blessed lands and grotto heavens. They hold the authority of the 2 heavens. Precisely because of this heaven form, which uses White Heaven's heavenly spirit as the core, can sense the many grotto heavens in immemorial White Heaven. It can also help me infiltrate the celestial court. Now that the immemorial 2 heavens have fused, the Black Heaven and White Heaven spirits are also showing signs of fusing. No matter which side devours the other, their strength will soar. They will become the new core of the fused immemorial 2 heavens. All sorts of karma flashed in Feng Yuan's mind. On the other side, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had already made his decision. He seemed to be following his instincts as he charged towards Feng Yuan. His body was huge. He was no longer a human body, but he had true rank 9 cultivation level. He was extremely fast, especially when flying in Black Heaven. It was like teleportation. Feng Yuan sighed. Seeing that Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was getting closer, he used heaven form and flew towards it resolutely. Sun. The sun was an existence of immemorial White Heaven. It countered Black Heaven's existence the most. After devouring Black Heaven's heavenly spirit, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable would undoubtedly be suppressed. Feng Yuan did not move around. Firstly, heaven form was not stable. It would crumble easily if it was too fast. Secondly, facing the sun was a suitable environment for heaven form. Thirdly, if Feng Yuan moved to another place and fought with spectral soul demon venerable, the other two venerables might find out and attack him. Feng Yuan's main goal was still to refine heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus. He wanted to stall for time and control the refinement process. Roar! Spectral soul demon venerable started to chase after Feng Yuan. Countless black smoke. Thousands of them shot towards Feng Yuan like chains. Feng Yuan snorted coldly. He barely managed to divert his attention and destroy the black smoke chains. He increased his speed, getting closer to the sun. Chapter 2263. Immortal Killer Move 7 Killings Rainbow. Feng Yuan pushed with his hand as a rainbow light shot out of his palm. Rumble. With a loud sound, the rainbow light expanded by dozens of times. It swept around like a heavenly pillar, clearing away the soul fog smoke. With a gap, Feng Yuan's speed rose as he successfully broke out of the soul fog smoke. At once, the blazing sun filled Feng Yuan's vision. The terrifying light and heat caused the soul fog smoke behind Feng Yuan to dissipate. Spectral soul demon venerable roared in anger. He tore apart the thin soul fog smoke as he chased after it again. Still following me? A cold light flashed in Feng Yuan's eyes. At the crucial moment, he sacrificed the white heavenly spirit. Without the burden of heaven form, he felt like he had gotten rid of a huge invisible mountain. Earlier, he could not get close to the sun because of heaven form. But now, Feng Yuan had no more worries. He got close to the sun again. The terrifying white light almost blinded Feng Yuan's eyes. The temperature rose rapidly. Even with 3 layers of defense, Feng Yuan found it hard to breathe. His body was covered in sweat. Spectral soul demon venerable behind him activated a killer move again. Hundreds of arms resembled huge trees. The black smoke that surged out of his body quickly filled the surroundings. Several Li spectral soul demon venerable continued to close the distance between him and Feng Yuan with the rolling black smoke. You still want to use a battlefield killer move to restrain me? A look of surprise flashed in Feng Yuan's eyes. He immediately made a move and easily destroyed the black smoke. Spectral soul demon venerable suffered a backlash. His aura fell greatly. Most of Feng Yuan's attention was still on the sovereign immortal aperture. He had not forgotten about the matter of refining heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus. Honestly speaking, the current spectral soul demon venerable gave Feng Yuan very little pressure. His mind was not clear. This was spectral soul demon venerable's greatest weakness. Just like how he had followed his instincts and wanted to trap Feng Yuan with his battlefield killer move, it was too stupid. Feng Yuan easily broke through it, and he suffered a huge backlash instead. Earlier in Crazed Demon Cave, Feng Yuan, Giant Sun Immortal, Paradise Earth, and the rest were trapped in the door of life and death. Spectral soul demon venerable had incredible battle strength. But now, without the soul path environment of the door of life and death, the threat of spectral soul demon venerable fell by several levels. Most importantly, spectral soul demon venerable's condition is not good now. He must have paid a huge price to fix that hole in Crazed Demon Cave. It seems that the hole in the wall has already been repaired by spectral soul demon venerable. Feng Yuan knew that if a hole appeared in the world of Gu cultivation, the heavenly Tao would use all sorts of methods to heal itself. However, because the primal chaos outside the world was constantly attacking, self-healing was extremely difficult. The larger the hole in the wall, the greater the difficulty. Back then, the loophole that thieving heaven demon venerable created required the combined power of several venerables to restrain. Limitless demon venerable's hole at the center of the Crazed Demon Formation was the smallest. The Crazed Demon Formation continuously resisted the primal chaos and strictly controlled the size of the hole. Crazed Demon Cave was able to survive until now. After the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable took the initiative to fix this hole. He used his foundation to resist the primal chaos attacks, giving the heavenly Tao enough time to heal him. It was not strange that the hole was fixed. If the hole still existed, according to the Celestial Court's standpoint, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would not have lured Spectral Soul Demon Venerable out. In fact, if the hole still existed, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable would not have come out. According to Feng Yuan's deductions, he would have suppressed the hole with all his strength. It is a pity that ghostly concealment is ineffective, otherwise, I would have been able to escape from Spectral Soul Demon Venerable easily. Feng Yuan had inherited one of Thieving Heaven's true inheritances, ghostly concealment, but this information was known to the Venerables long ago. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, and even Giant Sun Immortal had ways to deal with it. Ghostly concealment was created during Thieving Heaven's era. It has been 300,000 years since then. It is already outdated in the Venerable's eyes. Feng Yuan wanted to modify it, but unfortunately, his theft path and soul path attainment levels were not high enough. But even without ghostly concealment, Feng Yuan could still escape from Spectral Soul Demon Venerable easily. At the next moment, he activated the Battlefield Killer move that he had been preparing for a long time. The killer move was activated. It enveloped Feng Yuan's entire body and quickly condensed into a point, storing it in the void. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable charged over and bombarded the area. But there was nothing he could do. He could only move back and forth on the spot while screaming in anger. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Inside the Battlefield Killer move, Feng Yuan's eyes shined with bright light. He started to refine Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus with all his strength. This was probably his last chance. Inside 4 Elements Square Regret Blood Refinement Pool, flames surged as the glaciers started to melt. Rank 9 immortal materials were thrown into the fire like cabbages. A golden red liquid droplet flowed out of the fire's heart. It was as thick as lava. The crimson lava droplet was covered in a layer of faint golden light. It slowly fell down and landed on Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. Under Feng Yuan's full strength, the crimson lava droplet started to slowly seep into the surface of Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, gradually dispersing. The assisting Gu Immortals did not dare to breathe too loudly, because they knew that these were the final few steps, the most crucial moment. If they failed here, the rank 8 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus would either be heavily injured or destroyed. Feng Yuan had disappeared. Almost at the same time that Feng Yuan entered the Battlefield Killer move, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal used their strongest investigative methods. Under the protection of obscured heavenly secret, they only discovered that Feng Yuan had entered the Battlefield Killer move. They did not discover the truth behind the refinement. He used this move after all. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was not surprised. After a few rounds, under the constant urging of the two Venerables, Feng Yuan had no choice but to cancel his Battlefield Killer move and reveal his main body, joining in the fight. There was no other way. If he did not go out, Giant Sun Immortal and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would work together to break his Battlefield Killer move and force him out. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's mind was not clear. He could not do anything to Feng Yuan's Battlefield Killer move. But the other two Venerables were different. Starlight shined brightly, golden light surged like a tide. Feng Yuan's Totem Killer move followed closely behind. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was attacked from all sides. He was in a pathetic state. Most of his hundreds of arms were broken. He retaliated fiercely. He spat out a vast soul river. Countless black soul lightning bolts exploded continuously. His main target was still Feng Yuan. If he annexes White Heavenly Spirit, his intelligence will rise greatly. Is that why he hates me so much? Feng Yuan gritted his teeth, but he did not dodge, because the Sovereign Immortal Aperture had reached the final step. The 99th drop of lava landed on Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, slowly seeping into it. Rumble! Feng Yuan's vision turned pitch black. He was surrounded by the wails and cries of aggrieved souls. Several layers of defensive killer moves shined with all sorts of radiance. Blood flowed out of Feng Yuan's 7 orifices. His soul was shaken intensely. What happened? Did I make a mistake? The two Venerables retreated to the side. According to the situation earlier, Feng Yuan should have had some time to retreat. Giant Sun Immortal and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable looked at each other. They did not make a move. They would not save Fang Yuan, of course. But with conflicting Dao marks, if they attacked Fang Yuan, they would have to weaken the soul path attack first. Fang Yuan used Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's attack to gain some time. Boom! Four elements square regret blood refinement pool erupted with a dazzling light. Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was successfully refined at this moment. Its rank 9 aura spread out like a tsunami, filling heaven and earth. Chapter 2264. Rank 3 Heavenly Essence Treasure Lotus Goo. Rank 4 Heavenly Essence Treasure Monarch Lotus. Rank 5 Heavenly Essence Treasure Monarch Lotus. Above rank 5. Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. The Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus Immortal Goo, obtained from Langya sect, was finally raised to rank 9 by Fang Yuan. This rank 9 Immortal Goo was a dark green lotus leaf. It had an enamel-like surface, smooth and glossy. At the center of this lotus leaf, there was a lotus bud. The lotus petals were pure white like jade. Without any flaws, they were pure and fresh, without any worldly aura. Once the rank 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was refined, it activated on its own. The surrounding primeval energy was absorbed by it, turning into transparent dew droplets. These transparent dew droplets moved along the dark green enamel lotus leaf, accumulating and falling into the white jade flower bud at the center. The white jade flower bud silently absorbed these dew droplets, and at the tip of the flower bud, a hint of pink appeared. Fang Yuan had personally refined this immortal goo. He was very clear. The white jade flower bud would absorb more and more dew droplets, before the flower bud's color would turn from white to pink, and from pink to bright red. When the petals turned completely red, they would bloom and reveal the jade lotus seed pod inside. There were 81 lotus seeds in the jade lotus seed pod. Each lotus seed was yellow. They were all yellow apricot immortal essence. After the yellow apricot immortal essence was plucked, the blooming lotus would close up again. The bright red would fade and turn back into white jade petals. Next, it would absorb the transparent dew droplets, continuing the process of blooming and shrinking. Rank 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable's Vital Goo. Ranked 6th on the Immortal Goo ranking. A series of related information flashed past Fang Yuan's mind, all proving the value of this immortal goo. But the truth was, Fang Yuan knew that Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus being ranked 6th was still an underestimation. Why was that? Before Fate Goo was destroyed, Venerables were invincible. They ruled an era. The two Venerables did not exist in the same world. Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable had the rank 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. He had the most abundant immortal essence among the Venerables in history. However, this advantage was not fully reflected in his life. Because in his era, he was the only Venerable. He had no use for rank 9 immortal essence. Not having an opponent was the loneliness and regret of the strong. But it was different now. Fate Goo was destroyed. The three Venerables were in the same world. There might be other Venerables who could revive. Heavenly Essence Treasure Royal Lotus, in my hands, you will blossom with even more dazzling brilliance. Fang Yuan was delighted. With the results, the risk was worth it, even if he had to pay a terrifying price for it. After so many goo refinement failures, 30% of the rank 9 wood path immortal materials in Fang Yuan's storage were used up. The current crisis has not been completely resolved. Fang Yuan immediately calmed down. Around him, there was a dark soul river that surged endlessly. Break! Fang Yuan shouted, activating his killer move and breaking out of the encirclement like a meteor. Without refining his mind, he had a lot of energy left. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable attacked again. Fang Yuan quickly retreated. Fang Yuan, let's work together and attack him. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable reminded. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's gaze was also fixed on Fang Yuan. He used luck path methods to investigate, as if he wanted to verify how much immortal essence Fang Yuan had. Fang Yuan snorted coldly. His expression was ashen as he said in exasperation. Are you bullying me because I am young? We agreed to work together, but I fell into a soul path attack. Not only did you two not help me, you even let Spectral Soul Demon Venerable go and watch the show? This is your cooperation? Saying so, he activated a compound killer move that burst out with yellow-brown light, blocking Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's attack. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was silent for a while before smiling. Fang Yuan, you are mistaken. Even though we are working together, our Tao marks conflict. It will not be good if we fight casually. The moment she said that, she waved her hand. A large amount of stardust landed on Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's body, breaking several of his giant arms. Giant Sun Immortal also made a move. Golden light flashed like sand as he continued to whittle away at Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's luck. Fang Yuan relaxed slightly. He sighed to himself. This obscured heavenly secret killer move was really effective. The situation earlier was very dangerous. As long as the two venerables noticed something amiss with Fang Yuan, the two venerables would immediately attack him. But at this time, Fang Yuan's immortal essence reserves were very low. It was very dangerous. If the two venerables attacked, Fang Yuan could only avoid them. Even though Fang Yuan did not have the white heavenly spirit, it was worth it in this aspect. Looking at all of Fang Yuan's methods, only this killer move, which expended the white heavenly spirit, could conceal it from the two venerables at such a close distance. But Fang Yuan did not know how long he could conceal it. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable shouted as he activated Burning Soul Bursting Luck, blocking Giant Sun Immortal's golden sand. But Spectral Soul Demon Venerable still attacked Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan destroyed the white heavenly spirit. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's hatred for him was too deep. Fang Yuan snorted coldly. He did not attack forcefully. He flew towards Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, with Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. The three venerables attacked Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. They each occupied a position far away from each other. But now, Fang Yuan and Spectral Soul Demon Venerable were very fast. It was not difficult for them to get close. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable snorted coldly in her mind. At the next moment, starlight gushed out of her mouth like a wave. The starlight wave moved around Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's body, as meteors of all sizes flew out of the wave. In an instant, countless meteors flew around the battlefield. It was a dazzling sight. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable actually had such a move. She could produce so many stardust in such a short period of time. Fang Yuan's heart shook. These stardust particles did not pose much threat to him. A large number of chess pieces flew out of Star Constellation chessboard and struck these lava meteors, destroying them. Fang Yuan was confused. Star Constellation, what are you doing? These lava meteors are of great use to me. I still have a trump card. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable gritted her teeth. If I did not stop them, these lava meteors would have pierced the heavenly wind chi wall and landed in Central Continent. Fang Yuan smiled coldly. Star Constellation, if you want to kill a venerable, are you not willing to pay such a small price? If we were in the sky above Eastern Sea, I would not care about this. With your sincerity, do you think you can kill Spectral Soul Demon Venerable? Star Constellation Immortal Venerable stared at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan, don't go overboard. Among the three of us, who has the least sincerity? Fang Yuan's expression was cold. Star Constellation, am I someone who has no sincerity? In order to encircle and kill Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, I gave you several Star Path Immortal Goo before losing heaven form. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal were speechless. This was because Fang Yuan's scheming was not good enough. He was targeted and did not have enough strength to protect his rank 9 killer move. Now from your tone, you want to make up for your losses from us? Impossible. Giant Sun Immortal spoke. Fang Yuan, this Spectral Soul Demon Venerable is targeting you. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and I are helping you by dealing with Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Fang Yuan laughed heartily. Why would I need your help? He is just a mere spectral soul. I can deal with him easily. You can go back to Celestial Court or Longevity Heaven and watch as I fight with this Spectral Soul Demon Venerable in Central Continent and Northern Plains, killing him in the end. It's just a specter. What's there to fear? But in the outside world, without the amplification of Longevity Heaven's luck path Tao marks, Even if Giant Sun Immortal used the same investigative method, it would not have such a great effect. Maybe I can try to attack the Celestial Court? Giant Sun Immortal suddenly had this thought. Once Star Constellation Immortal Venerable refined the wisdom path, Tao marks of the Celestial Court, she would receive a much greater amplification than Giant Sun Immortal. Because Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had not only fused her own immortal aperture into the Celestial Court, all the wisdom path Gu immortals of the past had also contributed their immortal apertures into it, becoming a part of the Celestial Court. But Giant Sun Immortal shook his head and got rid of this thought. Firstly, Giant Sun Immortal did not have heaven form. The luck path method that he used to enter the Celestial Court had already lost its effect. He could not enter the Celestial Court to wreak havoc. Secondly, now that he was fighting with Star Constellation Immortal Venerable in the Celestial Court, he would expend too much immortal essence. It would give Feng Yuan a chance to catch up. The three venerables are in a standoff. I cannot make a move easily. I can only wait for a situation like this to benefit. Giant Sun Immortal sighed. He did not stay in Longevity Heaven for long. He returned to Northern Plains and started to refine Northern Plains luck path Tao marks. Feng Yuan was still trapped in the battlefield killer move. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had not left yet. Feng Yuan was not anxious. I will show weakness for a while longer. I need to reassure the two venerables. I have to say this obscured heavenly secret killer move is really useful. This was not the first time Feng Yuan sighed. Right now, the temporary heaven path Tao marks bestowed by obscured heavenly secret were still very dense. They were like layers of fishing nets that surrounded Feng Yuan's body. Inside the sovereign immortal aperture, heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus bloomed for the first time. Feng Yuan's yellow apricot immortal essence increased by 99 beads. Feng Yuan's eyes flashed with bright light. His yellow apricot immortal essence was rapidly expended. He quickly activated a heaven path method. With this heaven path killer move, the truthful floating ice that he obtained from Crazed Demon Cave started to melt. P.S. I gained over 4,000 votes last month. I would like to thank everyone for their support. These 2 updates will decrease in the next few days. It will definitely happen before the 7th. If Accident Gu comes to visit, I will feed the responsibility Gu to it. Chapter 2266. Inside the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, the blue and white truthful floating ice was shrinking inch by inch. In the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Feng Yuan obtained several truthful floating ice pieces. One of them was huge. Yellow apricot immortal essence beads were expended rapidly. At the same time, his heaven path Tao marks were increasing rapidly. Feng Yuan had more than 240,000 heaven path Tao marks to begin with. After clearing the truthful floating ice for 6 hours, his heaven path Tao marks increased by 60,000. On average, it was increasing by 20,000 every 2 hours. This was a considerable increase. But this was not the only gain. Feng Yuan's rule path, wisdom path, transformation path, strength path, earth path, wood path, and other paths were rising slowly. These paths correspond to Limitless Demon Venerable, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, Reckless Savage Demon Venerable, Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, and Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. These venerables have all been to the 8th layer of Crazed Demon Cave and invested in it. No, it is not just this. After clearing the truthful floating ice for 16 hours, Feng Yuan found that the attainment levels of other paths were rising. It was just that the increase in other paths was small and almost undetectable. Only after a long period of time and accumulation, to a certain extent, would it become slightly more obvious. And among all the paths, the most obvious increase was still in heaven path attainment level. Feng Yuan's foundation in heaven path was actually very weak. He had only been in contact with it for a short time. He did not cultivate for long either. The reason why he had any progress was because of the foundation of his predecessors. For example, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable created Heaven's Worker Substitution Killer move, and Limitless Demon Venerable created Unrestrained Heavenly Mark Killer move. But after several days in the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, his heaven path Tao marks increased to more than 1,200,000. His heavenly Tao realm advanced rapidly from the ordinary level, breaking through to the master level. Feng Yuan stopped for the moment. He had expended more than 100 beads of yellow apricot immortal essence. If not for heavenly essence treasure imperial lotus blooming again, Feng Yuan would not have been able to hold on. I need to conserve some immortal essence in case of a fight between venerables. Feng Yuan pondered. Heaven Path Master attainment level gave him a comprehensive increase. Gu recipes and killer moves related to Heaven Path, as well as his understanding of Heaven Path, he gained a new and deeper understanding. The most important thing was the conflicting Tao marks. His intuition was not wrong. After he became a Heaven Path Master, he would be able to create a Tao mark rejection method and resolve the sovereign immortal aperture's predicament. The reason why the sovereign immortal aperture's abnormalities were occurring frequently was because the sovereign immortal body's Tao marks did not conflict with each other. It was too easy for them to fuse together. Once there was conflict, the sovereign immortal aperture would be at peace, and the people would be at peace. Feng Yuan immediately used wisdom path methods to deduce the relevant killer moves. Another few days passed. Feng Yuan stopped the battlefield killer move and quickly left the immemorial two heavens. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable stayed there for a long time before giving up. Now he was rampaging through the immemorial two heavens, sometimes devouring the Soul Beast army, sometimes contending with the sun. Feng Yuan did not have heaven form. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was far away. He could not sense it. Feng Yuan successfully returned to Donghai. Feng Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture's foundation is extremely deep, far surpassing mine and star constellations. Thus, after a period of time, he will produce even more yellow apricot immortal essence. Also, he has a large number of blood path immortal goo. Thinking of this, Giant Sun Immortal's expression turned dark. He cultivated luck path primarily and blood path secondarily. He naturally needed a large number of blood path immortal goo. But Feng Yuan actually refined many blood path immortal goo. Even though most of them were rank 6, they were unique immortal goo. This completely destroyed many of Giant Sun Immortal's beautiful plans. Earlier, when Feng Yuan guarded heaven form and negotiated with Giant Sun Immortal, he used these blood path immortal goo as bargaining chips to bargain with Giant Sun Immortal. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable extorted 3 immortal goo from Feng Yuan, but Giant Sun Immortal did not get a single one. This caused Giant Sun Immortal Venerable to take it to heart. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable knows that Feng Yuan has the sovereign immortal aperture. As long as his refinement efficiency is higher, I will contact Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. It is unlikely that she will refuse to cooperate. By then, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and I will work together to fight against Feng Yuan. While expending his immortal essence, we can also extort him. We need to obtain a few blood path immortal goo. Giant Sun Immortal planned all sorts of plans. He did not know that Feng Yuan already had ranked 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, so he was more wary of Celestial Court. But currently, he did not have a chance to make a move against Celestial Court and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. Feng Yuan's action of snatching blood path immortal goo also greatly hindered his blood path. Literature Library. After the refinement, Feng Yuan's senses towards Qinyu became several times clearer. Feng Yuan released the restraints. Qinyu regained its freedom, but its mood was very low. It was mixed with fear, anger, numbness and bitterness, as if it had encountered the greatest setback in its life. It could not face the rest of its life. What's going on? As Feng Yuan observed, he found that this sunken fish had started a hunger strike. Qinyu's food was not seaweed or fishes, it was sea mud. Every few years, its scales would degenerate into ordinary goo materials, or when most of its scales disappeared, and it could no longer be protected, it would sink to the bottom of the sea and devour large amounts of sea mud. This immemorial sunken fish that was tortured by Feng Yuan had lost most of its scales. Normally, it should have sunk to the bottom of the sea and devoured the sea mud. Did it lose its desire to live because of my violence? Feng Yuan shook his head, using wisdom path methods. After some deductions he understood. The sunken fish swallowed the sea mud to fill their stomachs, and to produce new fish scales. And the source of its scales was the refinement path Dao marks on its body. Because of these refinement path Dao marks, it could digest the sea mud and absorb nutrients from it, turning it into thick immortal material scales. But now, its refinement path Dao marks were all refined by Feng Yuan. It lost this ability. Even though its scales were gone, it did not devour the sea mud. To verify his deduction, Feng Yuan used a food path killer move on this immemorial sunken fish. This immemorial sunken fish soon became hungry. This time, it started to devour the sea mud of its own accord. However, good times did not last long. The sea mud in its stomach quickly accumulated. It could not be digested quickly. If not for Feng Yuan stopping the food path killer move in time, the immemorial sunken fish would have died from eating too much sea mud and indigestion. Feng Yuan used a few simple methods to cripple an immemorial desolate beast. What if I return these Dao marks to it? Feng Yuan started to deduce again. Soon, he had a refinement path killer move, as well as a wisdom path killer move. Feng Yuan first used a wisdom path killer move to strengthen the Qinyu's will and guide it. Next, Feng Yuan used a refinement path method to teach the Qinyu how to refine the refinement path Dao marks on its body. Not long after, the Qinyu regained its refinement path Dao marks. It regained its vigor. As if its gloomy life was lit up again, its gloomy mood was swept away. The sea mud in its body was quickly digested and turned into immortal material scales. Feng Yuan nodded. This result perfectly proved his guess. Next, he refined the refinement path Dao marks on the immemorial sunken fish. Immemorial sunken fish. It showed numbness, fear, anger, bewilderment, and other complex and intense emotions. Feng Yuan used brute force to chase it far away. At the bottom of the sea, there were even fewer refinement path Dao marks. They were all refined by Feng Yuan. Chapter 2268. Song Yishe cultivated for 6 hours. She finally stopped activating the killer move. She let out a breath of turbid air and opened her eyes. She saw that there was dense water vapor. It was indistinct and indistinct, flowing from her arms to her calves, before stopping at her chest. Song Yishe observed the scale of the water vapor. She was overjoyed. At this rate, I only need to cultivate for half a month to complete the defensive killer move uncorroded flowing water. Strange, why is the effect so obvious this time? Am I imagining things? Song Yishe shook her head. She inspected her immortal essence. She did not have enough immortal essence, and there were even fewer immortal yuan stones. Sigh, Celestial Court is the source of immortal yuan stones. Once it stopped distributing them, the entire market's immortal yuan stones shrank rapidly. And I have grandfather's secret support. If it were other Gu immortals, their lives would be even worse. Song Yishe sighed. If she had enough immortal yuan stones, she would use immortal yuan stones to replenish her immortal essence and continue cultivating uncorroded flowing water. But now, she had to slow down and let her immortal aperture origin core produce immortal essence. After it reaches a certain level, she would cultivate it. After cultivating uncorroded flowing water, I will need to cultivate emotionless flowing water. My clan's flowing water inheritance is our signature. It is famous in Eastern Sea. It is exceptional even in the 5 regions. Passive defensive methods are rare. Normally speaking, Gu immortals can only cultivate one. It is hard for them to cultivate multiple passive defensive methods. But my clan's flowing water inheritance is ingenious and unique. Because the core is the same, many passive defensive killer moves can be layered on top of each other. Song Yishe thought of this and felt a little proud. But soon she extinguished this feeling. Sigh, I am still far from it. When I finish cultivating emotionless flowing water, I will undergo tribulation and advance to rank 7. The confrontation of 3 venerables, the fusion of 2 heavens, the 5 regions chaotic war might erupt tomorrow. Song Yishe was originally a genius, doted on by her grandfather and supported by her clan. She did not need to worry about cultivation resources. She was also one of the 6 great beauties of Eastern Sea due to her beauty. But her carefree life was gone forever. The situation changed too quickly. Song Yishe's sense of security was completely gone. By now, All of Eastern Sea's righteous path super forces had sided with Feng Yuan. This was unimaginable in the past. The external pressure stimulated Song Yishe, causing this proud daughter of heaven to have a strong desire to cultivate. Especially a few days ago, Song Yishe's grandfather, Song Qiyuan's letter, gave Song Yishe a different kind of stimulation. In the letter, Song Qiyuan talked about a lot of things. At the end, he mentioned the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliances, ordered to choose a group of Merman Gu immortals from the Merman Imperial Court to enter the sovereign immortal aperture to cultivate. Even though Feng Yuan did not specify the ratio, the Gu immortals of the merfolk Amals of the immortals, they were the most beautiful and the female Amals. Furthermore, Feng Yuan did not have a partner. He had been facing huge external pressure since he started cultivating. But now that he was venerable and could fight against Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven, the pressure on him was greatly reduced. Song Qiyuan followed this topic and talked about the giant sun immortal. Back then, after the giant sun immortal became a venerable, he recruited beauties from all over the world and set up 5 harems. Then, he mentioned the other venerables. Each of the 10 venerable ones had a partner. It was just a matter of how many they had. Even the unmarried star constellation Immortal Venerable seemed to have once fallen in love with a certain variant human Gu immortal. Song Qiyuan vaguely suggested an idea. Of course, it was mostly to test his own granddaughter. If Great Love Immortal Venerable wants to choose a female companion, would Song Clan offer me to him? At first, Song Yishe was very angry, but after a few days, she calmed down and thought about it calmly. Grandpa wouldn't force me like that. He only mentioned the possibility. Everything depends on my will. However, if Great Love Immortal Venerable gives the order to gather beauties from all over the world like Giant Sun Immortal did in the past, how could I possibly escape? How can the Song family protect me? Song Yishe, who had always been proud like a swan, realized this and felt a sense of bitterness and helplessness. If that happens, I cannot implicate the clan that raised and nurtured me. Grandpa loves me so much and supports me. He even secretly gave me water where immortal Gu. If not for this immortal Gu, how could I modify my killer move and successfully cultivate the flowing water inheritance? And how can I repay him? Just because I am unwilling, I will bring disaster upon the Song family? How could I be so selfish? When Song Yishe thought of this, she couldn't help but feel a sense of guilt. She followed this train of thought and pondered further. If Great Love Immortal Venerable had such thoughts, I would definitely offer myself for the sake of the clan. Then why wait until then? Why not go one step further and take the initiative to fight for it? By sacrificing me, if this succeeds, my Song clan will definitely prosper. Sigh, let's not think about this anymore. Feng Yuan did not know that his simple order was twisted by his subordinates after it was executed. Feng Yuan did not know about Song Yishe's complex thoughts. He was currently thinking about his gains from earlier. While Song Yishe was cultivating, Feng Yuan had secretly used the refinement path Dao marks in the surroundings of Poetic Emotion C area to amplify Song Yishe's cultivation. Feng Yuan gave it a slight try. It was like blowing at it. Song Yishe's cultivation progress rose by more than 10%. If I use my full strength, Song Yishe's cultivation efficiency will rise by dozens of times. She is cultivating water path because it is a passive defensive method. It is related to refinement path. If it is a proper Gu refinement method, my influence will be even deeper. This way, I can use refinement path to help others refine Gu. At the same time, I can sabotage them secretly. At least, without my permission, no one will be able to refine an immortal Gu in the refinement path Dao marks that I refined. This was quite terrifying. The fearsomeness of a venerable was evident in this aspect. Feng Yuan was overjoyed, but his heart was heavy. He had such influence in refinement path. Similarly, Giant Sun Immortal had the same influence in luck path, and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had the same influence in wisdom path. If I refine all the refinement path Dao marks in the 5 regions and 2 heavens, and monitor them at all times, as long as a Gu immortal refines an immortal Gu, I can sabotage them. Can I make it so that only I can refine Gu freely in this world? Feng Yuan thought of this problem But soon he shook his head. If Gu immortals refined Gu in their immortal apertures, Feng Yuan would not be able to influence them. Because the immortal aperture was a world of its own, it was isolated from the outside world. But if Gu immortals refined Gu outside, Feng Yuan could sense it and influence them. Throwing Song Yi to the back of his mind, Feng Yuan placed his attention on a certain coral group at the bottom of the sea. This coral group was rich in refinement path Gu materials. It was a natural refinement path resource point with high value. It had not been discovered yet. Feng Yuan pondered and researched it meticulously. He used a time path killer move to observe the process of this coral group's formation. Why did such a refinement path resource point form? Thousands of years ago, there was nothing here. However, a sunken fish had died here. The sunken fish's refinement path Dao marks and rule path Dao marks spread out, affecting the surrounding environment. Hundreds of years later, the sunken fish's corpse completely dissolved, the surrounding environment stabilized. Initially, all sorts of ordinary fishes and prawns came here in groups. Afterwards, medium and large-sized creatures migrated. The sea currents surged and washed away the seeds and corals. These slow changes happened after thousands of years, due to natural selection, fortuitous coincidences, and the evolution of time. The current situation was formed. Feng Yuan paid attention to the refinement path Dao marks of this coral group. Over the past thousands of years, the refinement path Dao marks here had been increasing and decreasing, fluctuating until it became like this. As long as I imitate the evolution of this refinement path Dao mark, with enough time, I can create such a refinement path resource point anywhere in the sovereign immortal aperture. Of course, there was a more convenient and common method. It was to directly set up a refinement path formation and expend refinement path immortal materials to create a coral resource point of the same material. But this method often required some immortal Gu and immortal essence to set up the formation. But the Dao mark layout that was formed naturally to create this refinement path resource point did not expend immortal essence or immortal Gu. In fact, Feng Yuan had been using the latter method to manage the sovereign immortal aperture. He set up large numbers of immortal formations to instantly create resource points. For example, the current earth vein nodes and water vein nodes were all distributed formations. These formations not only used immortal Gu, they also used the resource point as the core to set up the formation. This was very fast and required very little time, but the price was very high. As for natural evolution, the price was low. No immortal Gu was needed, immortal materials were accumulated bit by bit. But it required a lot of time. Regardless of which method, the two are essentially the same. They can be viewed as killer moves. Immortal formations were naturally killer moves, while the Dao mark layout that was formed naturally was a passive killer move. But this killer move was not used for defense. It was used to create an environment. Wait! Feng Yuan thought of divine concealment, ghostly concealment, and spaceless tunnel. Divine concealment and ghostly concealment formed a dense layer of Dao mark clothing on the soul. It was like silk, very tight. They did not expend immortal essence. They were passive defensive killer moves. And spaceless tunnel was created by thieving heaven demon venerable. It was used everywhere in the 5 regions and 2 heavens to shorten travel time. This was an immortal killer move from 300,000 years ago. It was still effective now. But now that the 2 heavens were mixed together, it had probably been destroyed. In essence, these killer moves are no different from coral resource points. Feng Yuan thought of fortune rivaling heaven Gu. This immortal Gu was a one-time consumable Gu. After using it, the Gu immortal's fortune rivaling heaven would no longer expend immortal essence. In essence, how is it different from coral resource points? Feng Yuan thought of the incomplete refinement sea. This was the refinement path secluded domain of heaven and earth that land spirit of Langya tried his best to create. What is a secluded domain of heaven and earth? It is just the accumulation of Dao marks of a specific path. They form a special ability. Dang Hun Mountain produces Guts Gu, and Qian Kuan Crystal Wall reflects everything that happens in the world. Secluded domains of heaven and earth are extreme resource points. They are also the other side of Gu worms and killer moves. So all things are one. Chapter 2269. What is learned on paper is shallow. This matter needs to be done with practice. Feng Yuan muttered to himself. Understanding the principle of all beings was one thing, but putting it into practice was another. Feng Yuan had completely comprehended the essence of divine concealment and ghostly concealment, but it was from refinement path. Because of his theft path attainment level, he could not modify ghostly concealment yet. He had the ability to create refinement path killer moves similar to divine concealment and ghostly concealment. But it was not easy. The price he had to pay was high. During this period of conflict between the three venerables, if Feng Yuan spent a lot of time and effort to deduce such a top-tier refinement path killer move, it would be too risky. The timing did not allow Feng Yuan to do so. However, the refinement path resource points in the 5 regions and 2 heavens had great reference value. Feng Yuan simplified them and extracted the true core. He could modify them into mature passive killer moves that could be used to manage the immortal aperture. Basically, these passive methods were very small in the total killer moves, but they were very valuable. The most common ones were passive defensive methods. Song Yisher had reason to be proud. Duke Long only had one. It was called 9 Lines Dragon Protection. As far as Feng Yuan knew, Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable did not create more than 5 killer moves similar to Divine Concealment and Ghostly Concealment in his life. The creation of killer moves started from the experience of goo cultivators, using mini goo worms at the same time. Later on, goo cultivators discovered all sorts of innate abilities from the living beings in the 5 regions and 2 heavens. They used them as reference and allowed killer moves to enter a period of rapid development. Until today, goo cultivators had already touched the ceiling of this world. For example, Duke Long created the Dragonman race, Land Spirit of Langia created a new secluded domain of heaven and earth, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable modified soul beasts, turning soul path killer moves into Dao marks and engraving them into soul beasts, giving them new innate abilities. From these achievements, goo cultivators were already on par with heaven and earth. They controlled many extraordinary abilities of heaven and earth. Limitless Demon Venerable was even more outrageous. He made arrangements in Crazed Demon Cave, creating a hole in the world boundary and creating brand new heaven path Dao marks. This surpassed the entire goo cultivation world by a level. This was Feng Yuan's first time refining refinement path Dao marks from the outside world. The Supreme Martial Grandmaster realm, coupled with personal practice, allowed him to gain a lot. In conclusion, there were a vast number of refinement path Dao marks in the 5 regions and 2 heavens. They were not evenly distributed. Some places were sparse, some places were dense. These refinement path Dao marks were stable. It was hard for them to change. Under normal circumstances, their increase and decrease were very slow and required a long time. These refinement path Dao marks could be seen as the foundation of the world's refinement path foundation. On this basis, a large number of animals, plants, and non-living goo materials would be born. These animals, plants, and objects were related to refinement path. They were refinement path resources. Under normal circumstances, places with densely packed refinement path Dao marks would have relatively rich and high-end refinement path resources. In places where refinement path Dao marks were sparse, refinement path resources were sparse and lower end. Refinement path Dao marks and all sorts of refinement path resources affected each other. The immortal crane smoke that represented heaven form, as well as the green stone that represented the refinement of heavenly essence treasure imperial lotus, had disappeared. Instead, a blue-white ice block appeared. It was evidently the truthful floating ice block. The blue-white ice block melted slowly in the furnace. It emitted an alluring light. This time, a large amount of reddish-brown sand appeared at the top of the furnace, floating like a cloud. The reddish-brown sand formed a small stream and slowly poured into the furnace. The red-brown sand was easily melted. It seeped into the furnace and repaired the cracks, turning the furnace from rough to smooth. This should be a comparison to my natural Dao mark refinement. If I were to refine path crazily, this red-brown sand would erupt and block my furnace. It would even attack the fire at the bottom of the furnace. This is the result of the two venerables working together to suppress me. Fang Yuan's luck inspection increased. Comparing it with his own situation, he gained more insights. Even though rank 8 cooking luck pot was not very suitable for Fang Yuan's current status, the secrets of luck path that it revealed reminded Fang Yuan that the most beneficial variables for him now were the Dao mark refinement and the development of heaven path. The Dao mark refinement has slowed down, but I need to secretly digest the truthful floating ice block. Right now, immortal essence is no longer a burden, it is a huge advantage instead. If I have immortal essence, I need to use it. I need to convert the resources I have into my foundation and strength. Venerables were one righteous path and one mystical path. Fang Yuan had already planned to use refinement path as the righteous path and heaven path as the mystical path. Refinement path was currently his main cultivation path, but refinement path was weak in terms of combat. Refinement path was not suited for offense, this was publicly acknowledged. In this situation, Fang Yuan needed another path to support his own battle strength. This path had very few people cultivating it, for example painting path. It could catch the enemy off guard and make it hard for them to guard against it. Even though there were many paths, Fang Yuan did not have many choices. Considering his current situation, heaven path was definitely his first choice. There were very few Gu cultivators who cultivated heaven path. The threshold was too high. Heaven path itself was very special. It had extraordinary potential and power. Refinement path was righteous, heaven path was mystical. This was Fang Yuan's current cultivation plan. Giant Sun Immortal and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had given Fang Yuan the title of Heaven Refining Demon Venerable. It was actually quite appropriate. Tang Qiong received Yuzi's signal and immediately walked forward, handing a shell to 12th Hair. 12th Hair saw that this shell was a rare rank 7 refinement path immortal material. He accepted it with a smile, his attitude becoming more enthusiastic. Everyone, please follow me. Your first stop is Star Collection City. This is the central area of the sovereign immortal aperture. The cloud soil that Star Collection City was on was not huge. The group of Gu immortals flew quickly and entered Star Collection City. Under 12th Hair's guidance, the mermaid Gu immortals stepped into the main hall and greeted the person in charge. This Gu immortal in charge of the main hall was also a woman. She cultivated sound path. Her rank 8 aura filled the hall. She wore a pink palace dress. Her eye sockets were deeper than normal people. Her nose bridge was tall. Her eyes were mesmerizing. It was Fairy Miao Yin. The mermaids paid their respects. Fairy Miao Yin sat on a high seat. Looking down at these Gu immortals with a solemn expression, she said, "You have just arrived. You need to know the rules of our sovereign immortal aperture. You need to abide by them for life. This sovereign immortal aperture does not support idlers. Whether it's you or the status of the Merfolk clan, you've all relied on your own hard work to obtain it. The contribution board has been calculated clearly. It is clear at a glance. Cheating is the worst. Do you understand?" "Yes, we will definitely follow Lady Miao Yin's instructions." The mermaids lowered their heads and replied. Fairy Miao Yin nodded slightly, looking at 12th Hair. "Since you accepted the mission of guiding the mermaid Gu immortals, you will lead them around and familiarize them with Star Collection City's arrangements." Saying so, Fairy Miao Yin waved her hand. Dozens of Gu worms flew out. 12th Hair acknowledged and took all of these Gu worms, saying to the mermaid immortals, "Please follow me." The mermaid immortals took their leave. After following 12th Hair out of the main hall, they let out sighs of relief. This Fairy Miao Yin was originally a rank 7 Gu immortal in southern border, but after following Great Love Immortal Venerable, her cultivation level rose to rank 8. Her tone is unfriendly. She must have seen through our plans, so she is trying to warn us. Lianku Xian and Yuzi conversed secretly. On the other side, Tang Qiong was carefully asking 12th Hair about Fairy Miao Yin's identity. Was she the city lord of Star Collection City? Before coming here, the Merman Imperial Court had made many preparations. Fairy Miao Yin, Lady White Rabbit, and other famous subordinates of Fang Yuan had prepared gifts for them. But Tang Qiong could not bring out the atmosphere in the hall earlier. 12th Hair shook his head. Originally, Star Collection City Lord was the old combat beast king, but he died in the tribulation. Right now, Star Collection City is guarded by Miao Yin, White Rabbit, Wuxia, Qi, and other rank 8s. Hearing this, the mermaid Gu immortals let out sighs of relief. It turned out that Fairy Miao Yin was not the true Star Collection City Lord. She did not have much authority. Yuzi's eyes brightened. She thought about how they rarely interacted with Feng Yuan's main body, but Feng Yuan's clone was in the sovereign immortal aperture. If they could have a close relationship with the clone, they would have achieved their goal. The mermaid immortals followed 12th Hair to the square in Star Collection City. In the square, there were 3 huge pillars. There were countless words floating on the surface of the pillars, forming 3 boards. Before the mermaid immortals could take a closer look, 12th Hair distributed Gu worms. These Gu worms were given to 12th Hair by Fairy Miao Yin in the main hall. Each mermaid Gu immortal got 5. They were all rank 5 mortal Gu. Chapter 2271. In the past 2 days, Gu Dao Master has been going through all channels. Thank you to the editor-in-chief. Ni. Thank you to the editor, Yu Long. Thank you to Qi Dian. And thank you to all the readers, friends and brothers and sisters who have supported this book. I don't know who said, the dream of a web novel is probably these 2. One is to sell the IP copyright, and the other is to recommend it through all channels. Time passed quite quickly. Quietly, the book of Gu Dao Master has already exceeded 7 million words. To be honest, according to my outline, it should end at 5 million words. When I wrote 5 million words, I felt, 6 million words should be enough to finish the book. When I wrote 6 million words, I felt, 5 million words should be enough to finish the book. Then I wrote 5 million words. What's going on? Why is there still so much to express? Therefore, there were several announcements of the book's completion, but they all failed. Now that I wrote 7 million words, I feel that estimating when the book will be completed is meaningless. Because I have never calculated correctly, I'd better not give up holding my head. When I wrote 7 million words, I feel that the entire book is still under my control. Although the outline has been revised countless times, crying, the book's results are getting better and better. This is really unexpected. I remember that when I first wrote the book, I wrote it purely with the interest of getting 0 royalties. To be honest, it's still rare to write a book with better results after writing 7 million words. It's all thanks to everyone. I'm bowing to thank everyone for their support. I also hope that more and more readers will be able to support the original version. After all, it's 6 years of hard work. Gu Dao Master has entered the later stage, and the true theme of this book will gradually become prominent. I think it will be quite exciting. In addition, I will open another batch of character columns tonight. Everyone can like the characters they like and upload pictures. I will closely communicate with the manga reshuffle for these uploaded character pictures. It is very likely that the character images of the Gu Dao Master comic will be closer to the direction that everyone approves of. Gu Dao Master's comic has been updated to The Devil Walks in the Light. The first part was Feng Yuan's dismemberment as a gift. I took a look, and the scale is quite large. Feng Yuan dragged the whole body all the way with blood, and then put it into a box as a gift. The person in charge of the venomous Gu Master's manga reorganization was truly courting death. He was frantically rubbing against the edge of the river crab, probing back and forth. To be honest, it was rare to see a manga that could be restored to such an extent. If everyone is interested, you can go and take a look. If you have any comments, you can bring them up directly to the comics department, or you can respond to us. I will try my best to communicate with the comics department. Now that I'm reading comics and seeing Guiyue Feng Yuan of Qingmao Mountain, I feel somewhat emotional. Unknowingly, we have already walked so far. Oh, how to read Venerable Gu's manga. It was very simple. First, search for Tencent Comics. After entering, search for Venomous Insect Master. Click on it and look. If mobile users wanted to watch it, they could download the Tencent animation app. Click, enter, search for Venerable Gu, click look. Oh, there's more. If everyone had switched over to support from this side, There was no harm in leaving some bullet screen comments to identify themselves and see how many people there were on their side. But please don't be a spoiler. Chapter 2272. Star Collection Cities Square. Yuzi and Lian Koexian looked at the contribution board at the same time. The contribution board had great reference value. Whoever was at the top was an important official, a capable subordinate of Feng Yuan. They were also people that mermaid immortals needed to befriend. Looking at the contribution board, they could roughly understand the situation of Feng Yuan's subordinates. They would have a clear understanding of them. Then, the two of them saw the first name on the contribution list, Sixth Hair. A hairy man? There is a huge gap between this person's contribution points and the second places. No one will be able to catch up to him in a short period of time. Even though Yuzi and Lian Koexian had just arrived, they could feel that Sixth Hair's accumulation of contribution points was extraordinary. Starting from second place, the difference in contribution points is not big. Yuzi and Lian Koexian soon saw some familiar names in the top 10. For example, Fairy Miao Yin, Lady White Rabbit, and Mo Tansang, Shui Air, Shi Chung and others. What made Yuzi and Lian Koexian pay attention to was that there was a strange name in the top 10. Land Spirit of Langia? Could it be Langia Blessed Land's land spirit? Land spirits can also enter the ranking. This shows that Lord Feng Yuan is truly magnanimous. He treats humans, variant humans and land spirits equally. Most of the top 10 on the contribution board were variant human Gu immortals. The political significance of this made the two former rulers of the Merman Imperial Court feel satisfied. They even felt a sense of excitement. They also saw 12th Hair's contribution points. 12th Hair was at the 18th place. The 19th place was the Black Hound Land Spirit. But at the next moment, the 19th place Black Hound Land Spirit suddenly rose up and pushed 12th Hair down. 12th Hair also noticed this. He coughed awkwardly and explained with a slightly envious tone. This Black Hound Land Spirit is really lucky. Right now, the two heavens are fusing. Remnant heavenly dogs and heaven-swallowing dogs escaped in large numbers and were captured by Gu immortals. Our sovereign immortal Aperture took in a group of them. Currently, these dogs are being taken care of by the Black Hound Land Spirit. After they are healed and inspected, they will be released into Mini White Heaven. The Black Hound Land Spirit obtained a large number of contribution points because of this. Yuzi and Lian Kursen nodded and thought to themselves, actually, you don't need to explain too much. We don't care how you were overtaken by a land spirit. They were concerned about Fairy Miao Yin, Lady White Rabbit, and most importantly, the snowman Gu immortal Shui Air. Because Bing Yuan had once bragged about Shui, in the Outsider Grand Alliance. The news that she was Feng Yuan's fiancée had spread far and wide. The Righteous Alliance, which had once been a hostile faction, was gathering intelligence on this matter. Thus, the mermaid immortals all knew about this. However, just as they were about to inquire about these key figures in detail, a cry of surprise came from beside them. Yuzi frowned slightly again. Just when she was about to berate, the other four mermaid immortals said together, "Leaders, quickly look at this exchange list." Yuzi and Lian Koexian's attention couldn't help but be drawn over. When they looked carefully, their pupils dilated and revealed shocked expressions. The Sovereign Immortal Aperture's internal exchange list was indeed different from the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance's external list. There were too many good things. Yuzi and Lian Koexian felt their heads go dizzy. The list was filled with Gu worms of all paths. There were many rare and extinct mortal Gu, and there were more than 1,000 immortal Gu that could be exchanged from rank 6 to rank 8. Next, these Gu immortals walked out with their heads held high and their faces glowing, even though many of them still had dark circles under their eyes. When these Gu immortals saw acquaintances, they would nod at them warmly. When they walked past them, they would greet them and talk about their missions or their rankings on the contribution board. Many Gu immortals showed expressions of realization when they saw the mermaid Gu immortals. Some of them took the initiative to greet them. They were very enthusiastic. Oh, I heard that we are taking in a group of mermaid Gu immortals. Are these them? Great, with this group of people, we can finally take a breather. The accumulation of missions should be alleviated now. 12th Hair, you got this receiving mission. You are really lucky. Groups of mermen brought their families to this sea area. Under the instructions of the mermaid Gu immortals, these 800,000 mermen started to build houses in an orderly manner, forming underwater villages, small towns, and even cities in the center. The mermaid immortals set up 6 cities. Each Gu immortal was in charge of one. The cities were surrounded by small towns, and beyond the towns were villages. Because of their ample preparation, the mermen did not lack living resources. Chaotic situations were unavoidable. After all, they had just arrived. But under the command and control of the mermaid immortals, they did not suffer any losses. After working for 9 days and 9 nights, seeing that the merman citizens had settled down, Yuzi and Lian Kuexin gathered the immortals to discuss some important matters. There are many types of ordinary Gu materials, but the quantity of each is not high, and they change frequently. In my opinion, we should organize the mermaid Gu masters to gather these Gu materials once in a while. The surrounding environment is quite safe. There are few desolate beasts, not to mention ancient desolate beasts. There are almost no common food like seaweed and prawns. We need to nurture them. We even need to create a stable ecosystem. There are few immortal materials here. According to the map, the closest immortal level resource point to us is 7 Treasures Sea Spring. It produces 7 treasures water. Don't think about resource points. This is the sovereign immortal aperture. All the resource points belong to Master. If we want resources, we need to complete missions and exchange for them with contribution points. Speaking of missions, the mermaid immortals have been actively researching them these days. 12th Hair's words make sense. I think we need to do our best to complete the missions and prove our worth. That way, other Gu immortals will acknowledge us. I have compared them and found that the most suitable mission for us is to set up a water path resource point. Master is a great strategist with a grand spirit. He is currently creating a water vein. Now that the first water vein is completed, he is creating the second one. This is our chance. That makes sense. But we cannot give up on the other missions either, especially those that involve other Gu immortals. I think we can take some of them and use the mission to get to know the Gu immortals here. We can try to befriend them. Before coming here, we prepared most of the gifts for our first meeting. After the mermaid immortals finished their discussion, Yuzi stayed in the sea area. She was in charge of developing the ecosystem and creating a stable source of food for the mermen. Meanwhile, 4 female immortals led by Lian Koexian received missions and traveled to different places. On one hand, they gathered information, and on the other hand, they established diplomatic relations. Lian Kursen spent more than a day flying to the Yellow Hair continent. 12th Hair had already received a letter Gu notification. He welcomed them in the sky. As the saying goes, distant relatives are not as good as close neighbors. Both sides had the desire to befriend each other. Lian Koexian sent a gift again. These days, she had been researching the contribution board. She found that the hairy men were the #1 force in the sovereign immortal aperture. 12th Hair also prepared a gift in return. It was not a small one. After some initial interaction, 12th Hair learned of the mermaid immortal's actions. He smiled at Lian Koexian. You did the right thing this time. In the 5 regions and 2 heavens, when Gu immortals visit, they would set up a banquet, or at the very least, they would prepare some tea. But this situation does not exist in the sovereign immortal aperture. We do not have the time or mood to set up these useless banquets. You accepted the mission this time, and used it to establish diplomatic relations. It was a wise move. If you did it according to the habits of the 5 regions and 2 heavens, the effect would not be good. Lian Koexian heard this and felt a little glad. Next, she realized the style of the sovereign immortal aperture's Gu immortals. 12th Hair said directly, You and I have both accepted the mission to nurture Gu immortal seeds. Let's go. Let's not waste time, and look at the most important one first. Lian Koexian followed 12th Hair, flying for a while before concealing her aura and entering a forest. A hairy man Gu master was being chased. He was covered in injuries as he staggered in the forest. Sounds of fighting could be heard from behind him. Lien Coexian inspected, and found that this hairy man Gu master was a mixed blood between a human and a hairy man. He is called Guifeng Xiang. 12th hair introduced at an appropriate time. Lien Coexian's pupils shrunk, her body shook intensely. 12th hair quickly stretched out his hand. Don't think too much. He is not of Master's bloodline, he is Guifeng's son. He, Master has great foresight, we cannot fathom him. We were only ordered to secretly nurture this child, arranging fortuitous encounters and setbacks for him. This is the most qualified Gu immortal seed among us hairy man Gu masters. Chapter 2274. Huff huff huff. Guifeng Xiang breathed roughly as he hid in the roots of an ancient tree. The ancient tree towered into the sky. The exposed roots were intertwined and were very well hidden. Guifeng Xiang had finally escaped the pursuit. He had the chance to rest and recuperate. His mouth and nose were still bleeding. He hurriedly wiped his mouth with the back of his hand and started to inspect his body's condition. Guifeng Xiang's expression turned grim. He found that he had more than 10 wounds, 3 fractures, and the most serious injury was to his internal organs. He needed immediate treatment. However, he was not that panicked. After all, this was not the first time he had suffered such injuries. Guifeng Xiang tore the clothes on his chest. His clothes were tattered from the intense battle. He casually tore them apart, revealing his hairy chest. There was a long and deep wound on his chest, broken ribs could be seen. Guifeng Xiang gritted his teeth and activated his Gu worm. The healing Gu worm was like a centipede. It entered his body from the wound and immediately suppressed the internal bleeding. In a short while, this centipede came out of Guifeng Xiang's body while covered in blood, lying on his wound. Hundreds of tentacles stabbed into the flesh on both sides of the wound. The intense pain caused Guifeng Xiang to suck in a breath of cold air. Shortly after, the centipede slowly exerted strength. Its hundreds of tentacles forcefully dragged the flesh, creating a light creaking sound as the huge wound closed up. Treating the injury like this was only treating the symptoms and not the root cause. But Guifeng Xiang was clear that there was no time for him to treat the injury. There are traces of blood here. Come quickly. Be careful, this scoundrel is very troublesome. What are you afraid of? Even if he has rank 5 cultivation, after being hit by the leader's incomplete refinement killer move, most of his Gu worms will be destroyed. Because of your thoughts, more than 10 experts have already died in his hands. Guifeng Xiang, this mixed blood is indeed a monster. Discussions could be heard. Guifeng Xiang's expression changed. Damn it! He had caught up so quickly. I just finished treating my wounds. Guifeng gritted his teeth and checked the few Gu worms left in his aperture. After persisting until now, most of his Gu worms had already been destroyed. As for the rest, they were all injured. Forcefully activating them would cause them to disintegrate and be destroyed. These Gu worms were all accumulated by Guifeng Xiang with great difficulty. But now he had no choice but to use them. Sleep lurking Gu. I can only rely on you now. You must hold on. Guifeng Xiang prayed while activating his Gu worm to hide himself. This was only a rank 4 Gu, but its concealment ability was outstanding, almost comparable to a rank 5 Gu. Guifeng had to rely on this Gu to escape many times in his life. But this Gu had a flaw. Once activated, the Gu master would fall asleep. The deeper the sleep, the better the concealment effect. As a result, Guifeng lost his sense of the outside world. What he did not know was, not long after he fell asleep, this sleep-lurking Gu completely disintegrated into pieces. The pursuers were still searching around. Seeing this, 12th hair, who was hiding, waved his hand as an immortal killer move was instantly used on Guifeng Xiang. A yellow hairy man Gu master who was chasing him was very serious. He searched the area that Guifeng wanted to hide in, carefully inspecting the tree roots that he was hiding in. Guifeng Xiang was right in front of him, but he could not see him. Eventually, the pursuers thought that Guifeng Xiang had escaped from this mountain. They chased deeper into the mountain. Guifeng Xiang woke up and found that he was safe for the moment. He let out a sigh of relief. Even though Guifeng was no longer in the sovereign immortal aperture, He had indeed roamed the 3 continents of hairy men. He left behind all sorts of traces and rumors. Guyue Fengxiang's cultivation level rose. He gained more experience in society. Countless battles and escapes had forged his tenacious and optimistic nature. He firmly believed that one day, he would find his father. Just like this, near the deep pool, Guyue Fengxiang rested for a night. Early in the morning, the mountain fog was thick. Guyue Fengxiang came to the edge of the deep pool with a puzzled expression. He found that this deep pool was very strange. The fog in the forest originated from the deep pool. Guyue Fengxiang waited here for half a day and night, but did not see any wild beasts coming to the deep pool to drink water. All sorts of abnormalities gave him a familiar feeling. Every time he encountered a fortuitous encounter, it was probably this feeling. Guyue Fengxiang had an adventurous spirit. After probing for a while, he dived into the deep pool. Unexpectedly, the pool water was not cold. Instead, the deeper he dived, the warmer it became. Guyue Fengxiang dived all the way to the bottom of the deep pool. The temperature of the water was as pleasant as a hot spring. He found a piece of white jade in the deep pool. The white jade was almost transparent. From the outside, Guyue Fengxiang could easily see that there was a beauty sealed inside. This is a mermaid. When Guyue Fengxiang saw the beauty's face, his eyes widened as his heart shook. So beautiful! He had never seen such a beautiful woman before. This kind of beauty caused his heart to beat wildly, and he naturally developed a feeling of adoration. The mermaid sealed in the white jade was Lian Kuexian. Lian Kuexian transmitted her voice to Guyue Fengyuan. Interesting mixed blood young man. Did you wake me up? Guyue Fengxiang's body shook. He opened his mouth and wanted to scream, but he forgot that he was at the bottom of the pool. He drank a huge mouthful of water. He quickly covered his mouth. He was in a sorry state. Lian Kuexian laughed. Guyue Fengxiang felt his whole body go numb. He thought, how can this mysterious mermaid laugh so beautifully? Lian Kuexian continued to explain. I am a mermaid immortal Lian Kuexian. When I was quelling a chaos in heaven and earth, I was accidentally injured and sealed in this white jade. Young man, since we are fated to meet, please lend me a hand and help me escape. Guyue Fengxiang was shocked, but he did not have a goo worm to transmit. He quickly cupped his fists and bowed. He waved his hands underwater to express his intentions. Lian Kuexian smiled and said, you don't have to worry. This piece of white jade can't trap me in the first place. It's just that I need more time to escape alone. If you can refine rank 4 earth refinement goo, you can refine this white jade from the outside. It will save me a lot of effort. Guyue Fengxiang nodded. Lian Kuexian gave him pointers, telling him the earth refinement goo recipe. She also pointed out the suitable goo materials for this area. Guyue Fengxiang got out of the pool. He started to work. After spending 3 days, he refined rank 4 earth refinement goo for the first time. This is really luck. Guyue Fengxiang felt glad. According to his usual performance, it would not be easy to refine a rank 4 goo worm. He was a mixed blood after all. It seems that heaven is helping me. I have to save the fairy. Guyue Fengxiang sighed. 12th Hair, who was hiding at the side, laughed and shook his head. He had secretly helped him, otherwise, how could Guyue Fengxiang succeed in one try? Guyue Fengxiang obtained the rank 4 earth refinement goo. He did not rest. He dragged his tired body to the bottom of the pool and refined the white jade. Lian Kuexian successfully escaped. She smiled at Guyue Fengxiang, showing a look of appreciation in her eyes. Chapter 2275. How is it? 12th Hair smiled. In the clouds, he met with the mermaid immortal Lian Kuexian secretly. Lian Kuexian replied, he is indeed a goo immortal seed. He has a high chance of becoming an immortal. 12th Hair shook his head. This time, he has a strong motivation to cultivate, but it is not enough. We need to increase his foundation as much as possible. After all, he can only pass the adjustment of 3 qi by himself. As for the other tribulations, they were not a problem. They could secretly help from the side. Then what do you mean? Lian Kuexian showed some hesitation. 12th Hair said, I will give him 7 to 8 days to familiarize himself with those mortal goo. After that, I will lure those pursuers over and let them train for him. His mother, Steel Thread City Lord, is not dead. She is in a state of near death. Only Gu immortal methods can save her. I will let him know this. It will strengthen his desire and determination to undergo tribulation. Lien Kuxian heard this, and was silent for a while before praising. You are truly far-sighted. I cannot compare to you. After this mission is completed, I hope you can distribute the contribution points. Fairy, you are too humble. 12th Hair squinted, waving his hand. I will report your contribution. Furthermore, the distribution of contribution points is a matter of Star Collection City. How can I interfere? Lien Kuxian had originally accepted the mission to get close to and befriend 12th Hair. But when she learned of Guyue Fengxiang's special identity, she immediately understood that Guyue Fengxiang would be placed in an important position by Feng Yuan in the future. This mermaid immortal thought of a plan. She did not hesitate to take action personally and interact with Guyue Fengxiang. In order to perform better, this mermaid immortal was willing to go all out. 12th Hair was worried that her performance would reduce his gains, so he revealed his other plan to Lien Kuxian. Lien Kuxian was also very perceptive. She immediately expressed that she would not compete for the credit. 12th Hair was very satisfied. The atmosphere between the two thus returned to normal, becoming harmonious again. After chatting for a while, a huge pillar of light suddenly shot up from the south. An eerie Gu refinement aura spread out. Lien Kuxian sensed it and her expression changed. Someone refined a rank 7 immortal Gu? She then looked at 12th Hair and praised. Your clan is indeed full of talents. Just this surging aura alone makes this one yearn for it. I wonder if fellow immortal can introduce me to him? 12th Hair showed a troubled expression. He shook his head and subconsciously lowered his voice. If it were any other hairy man Gu immortal, I would definitely introduce them to you. But this person is very special. His true identity is Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's clone. Master used a method to imprison him, refining Gu all day long. Lien Kuxian was shocked. She suddenly had a flash of inspiration as she asked. Don't tell me, this imprisoned Gu immortal is 6th Hair? 12th Hair nodded. Fairy, you are very smart. The valley that 6th Hair lives in has also been specially arranged by Master. It is a forbidden area in the entire Sovereign Immortal Aperture, commonly known as Secluded Valley Forbidden Area. At this time, in the Secluded Valley Forbidden Area, 6th Hair's body was as thin as a stick. His cheekbones were high, and his eye sockets were deep. A rank 7 immortal Gu had just been refined. This Gu worm was like an ant. Its upper body was large and shiny, while its lower body was small and dim. Its front limbs were short and weak, while its back limbs were long and powerful. It was the enslavement path immortal Gu, Master Servant Gu. I finally refined it. 33 times. I was heavily injured 27 times, and nearly died 19 times, but I still succeeded. With this immortal Gu, I can definitely help sect leader Feng Yuan. I still need to rely on sect leader to save my main body. Wait, I seem to have forgotten something. Forget it. Let's continue refining Gu. The more immortal Gu I refine, the stronger Shadow Sect will become, and the greater the hope of saving my main body. 6th Hair's mind was not right. After muttering for a long time, he immediately started to refine other immortal Gu. A moment later, in jewel yellow skies, Feng Yuan's will, and he Fengyang completed a transaction under everyone's gazes. Feng Yuan obtained an Earth Path resource point in Central Continent. It was called 9 Central Stone Forest, while he Fengyang obtained the Master Servant Gu. He really made the transaction unbelievable. He Fengyang is actually so daring. He is not throwing caution to the wind. He must have received instructions from Immortal Crane Sect to do this. Crane Gate? No. Even Crane Gate cannot resist the pressure of openly transacting with Heaven refining Demon Venerable. There must be Celestial Court's permission behind this, otherwise, why would Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects dare to do this? Didn't Celestial Court declare that Feng Yuan is a Demon Venerable? They actually cooperated with him? So what? How hard is it to refine a rank 7 immortal Gu? Celestial Court is extremely rich. They have countless resource points like 9 Central Stone Forest. They can exchange for an immortal goo with just a little bit. I would do the same. Feng Yuan is indeed worthy of being heaven refining demon venerable. Refining a rank 7 immortal goo is so easy. It is as easy as drinking water. What do you think will happen if he refines a rank 8 immortal goo? It won't be so easy, right? I feel that there is at most a 50% no 30% chance of success. Then what about refining a rank 9 immortal goo? Hehe, you must be joking. Even a refinement path venerable would find it difficult to refine a rank 9 immortal goo. Look at the historical records. The number of rank 9 immortal goo refinements can be counted on one hand. But how many of them succeeded? Even Star Constellation Immortal Venerable spent 100 years to refine rank 9 wisdom goo. That's right, Celestial Court spent over 1,000,000 years to repair a rank 9 fate goo. And in the end, didn't they fail at the last moment? And this is just repairing a rank 9 immortal goo. Refining a rank 9 immortal goo is too difficult. That is hard to say. After all, Guiyue Feng Yuan is the first refinement path venerable in history. We can only look up to him. There is no way we can estimate him. At once, the Gu immortals of the 5 regions and 2 heavens discussed among themselves. They had just started to talk about Feng Yuan's refinement path attainment. They were curious about what kind of refinement path strength he had as a refinement path venerable. Most people thought that it would be very difficult for Feng Yuan to refine a rank 9 immortal goo. After all, there were many historical records. The remaining small portion of Gu immortals felt that they were too weak. They could not guess Feng Yuan's true limits. Gradually, the topic of the Gu immortals discussion shifted to Celestial Court under the influence of some people. Celestial Court's tacit acceptance towards He Fengyang, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's ambiguous attitude towards Feng Yuan, made the immortals feel disdain and ridicule. But they could understand why Celestial Court did this. After all, Feng Yuan's business could not be stopped, and it was very profitable. Because of this topic, the Gu immortals started to talk about Celestial Court stopping the distribution of immortal Yuan stones. Thus, complaints and calls for Celestial Court to redistribute immortal Yuan stones arose. Voices of ridicule and jealousy towards Celestial Court rose to the surface. Celestial Court had always been the #1 human force in the world. It stood proudly at the top of the Gu immortal world of the 5 regions and 2 heavens. This time, they stopped distributing immortal Yuan stones. It went against their previous position and style. The shortage of immortal Yuan stones was indeed a huge problem for many Gu immortals. In Treasure Yellow Heaven, out of the 10 transactions, 9 of them were already bartering with items. The remaining transaction was when super forces offered high prices to purchase immortal Yuan stones. Western Desert. Feng Dichang was also activating Gu worms to communicate with Jewel Yellow Skies. This wave of criticism towards Celestial Court is not right. Giant Sun Immortal and Heaven Refining Demon Venerable are likely adding fuel to the fire. Feng Dichang's eyes flickered with uncertainty as he recognized the peculiarity. The truth was that Feng Yuan and Giant Sun Immortal would not let go of such a good opportunity. Celestial Court's reputation fell again and again in this wave of criticism. Feng Dichang's divine sense arrived in front of Feng Yuan's will and communicated in an extremely humble manner. Western Desert's Feng Dichang greets Lord Alliance Leader. Lord Alliance Leader is a man of wisdom and martial virtue. You have blessed the world. I wish Lord Alliance Leader eternal blessings and longevity. Before he finished speaking, Feng Yuan's will waved his hand impatiently, interrupting Feng Dichang. Enough nonsense, let's transact. Feng Dichang quickly acknowledged. Thus, after He Fengyang's transaction, another transaction succeeded. Feng Yuan refined a rank 7 immortal Gu and gave it to Western Desert's Feng clan. And Feng clan provided an earth vein resource point, as well as millions of hairy man slaves. Feng clan originally wanted to keep a low profile and develop in the dark, benefiting from both sides. But Feng Yuan declared his great love and exposed his close relationship with Feng clan. Feng clan was dumbfounded for a while. One clan gathered Western Desert's righteous path to attack Feng clan. Even though they failed, Feng clan recognized their situation and no longer had any thoughts of getting lucky. Thus, Under Fong Dichang's suggestion, Western Desert's Fong clan publicly announced that they would join the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance. At this point, Fong clan can only cooperate closely with Fong Yuan and make use of this opportunity to strengthen themselves. Fong Dichang sighed inwardly. This identity was very risky, but at the same time, it also brought with it immense benefits. Immortal goo were too difficult to refine. With this immortal goo, my battle strength can match ordinary rank 7 goo immortals for now. Fong Dichang fell into deep thought again. He had already succeeded in his immortal ascension and became a rank 6 goo immortal again. The harmonization of 3 qi was a huge obstacle, but Fong Dichang had the experience of success. There was no reason to fail the second time after succeeding the first time. Another problem in immortal ascension was calamities and tribulations. With the help of Fong clan's goo immortals, there was no threat in most situations. Unless dream path or painting path calamities and tribulations appeared. But what made Fong Dichang feel regretful was that he did not have the chance to learn from nature in this immortal ascension. Every goo master's immortal ascension had a peerless opportunity to learn from nature. Using this opportunity to ask about the secrets of heaven and earth would often result in great gains. But this time, Fong Dichang lost this opportunity. This was not because it was his second immortal ascension, but because there was a problem with providence itself. With the fusion of the two heavens, providence fell into chaos and turbulence. It was hard to take care of the small issue of learning from nature. After resting for a few more days, we will attack one clan. At this moment, Fong Dichang's eyes were like an eagle's. Chapter 2276. Northern Plains. The golden light drifted in the sky like strands and threads, and it formed a golden glow that covered the sky before seeping into the ground, causing it to be vast and continuous. And it was an extremely majestic scene. Giant Sun Immortal was refining Northern Plains' luck path Dao marks. But at this time, the golden light that filled the world gradually calmed down. A moment later, the core of Northern Plains returned to its original state. In the air, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable slowly opened his eyes. He had a handsome face, his mouth, nose, eyes, and brows were all very firm. But his expression was indifferent right now, revealing a trace of undetectable helplessness. Ever since the 3 venerables tried to kill Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, but failed because of Fong Yuan's interference, Giant Sun Immortal returned to Northern Plains and refined luck path Dao marks here. During this period of time, he had made great progress. Now he had already completed his plan. All the luck path Dao marks in Northern Plains core area were refined by him. The range of luck path Dao marks covered the wisdom path Dao marks that Star Constellation Immortal Venerable refined earlier. It negated some of Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's advantage here. Even though Giant Sun Immortal could do nothing to the wisdom path Dao marks that Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had already refined. But at least in the future, when they fought here, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would gain the amplification of wisdom path Dao marks. And so would Giant Sun Immortal. He would not lose his home ground advantage. But I don't have much immortal essence left. Giant Sun Immortal sighed internally. The process of refining natural Dao marks expended rank 9 immortal essence intensely. At the start, Giant Sun Immortal only refined the luck path Dao marks around him. It was like weaving a spherical spider web. From one point, it grew to a small ball, and then to a large ball. As the spider web grew larger, the number of Dao marks it came into contact with increased. At the same time, refining these luck path Dao marks consumed a terrifying amount of immortal essence. Right now, Giant Sun Immortal only had over 100 yellow apricot immortal essence beads left. He had no choice but to stop. His immortal essence storage was already at a critical level. He had to reserve some in case of accidents. Giant Sun Immortal's rank 9 immortal aperture could produce yellow apricot immortal essence now. This was his only source of immortal essence. Longevity Heaven would not do. Although the Longevity Heaven hadn't devoured any of the 9 heavens fragments, and wasn't corroded by the power of providence, after the Giant Sun Immortal died, it couldn't produce the Giant Sun's immortal energy. Right now, even though Giant Sun Immortal had revived, The true venerable immortal aperture was this one in his body. It had not passed the first chaotic disaster. Furthermore, this second aperture of giant sun immortal had just been constructed. It was not very prosperous. The immortal aperture origin source could not produce much immortal essence, unless giant sun immortal absorbed longevity heaven into his body. But if he did that, the luck path Tao marks in his body would increase sharply, and he would lose the possibility of cultivating blood path. I must first cultivate my blood path to a certain extent before I can regain my previous life's foundation. This was the pain of development, and it had to be endured. Cultivating the blood path at the same time will be of great help to the competition between supremacies. Thankfully, I don't have enough immortal essence. The situation for the other two venerables will be worse. Giant Sun Immortal smiled. He had always felt that he had an advantage in terms of immortal essence. Even though he could not refine luck path Tao marks for the time being, Giant Sun Immortal was not idle. He waited for the immortal essence to be produced while comprehending blood path. Blood Sea Ancestor's true identity was Giant Sun Immortal's clone. Blood Sea Ancestor created blood path. He left behind countless blood path inheritances after his death. Most of them were mortal goo or mortal killer moves, but there were 9 true inheritances at goo immortal level. They were the peak of blood path at that time. These 9 inheritances were blood skull goo, blood handprint goo, blood chi goo, blood sweat goo, meridian blood goo, blood shadow goo, blood battle goo, blood deity goo, as well as the method to raise and enslave the ancient desolate beast violent blood dragon bat. Unfortunately, Blood Sea Ancestor was targeted by the Celestial Court when he was alive. His inheritances were also the same after his death. They were mostly destroyed. Thankfully, Blood Sea Ancestor had left behind countless mortal inheritances. Most of the 9 true inheritances were useful. The one who obtained the most true inheritances was Southern Borders Gu Immortal Shang Yanfei. When he was young, he found blood handprint Immortal Gu in Southern Borders Blood Tide Pit. Later, he obtained the Blood Shadow Gu True Inheritance. Northern Plains Meridian Blood Immortal Gu True Inheritance was obtained by Dongfang Naganori. Western Deserts Blood Chi Immortal Gu True Inheritance was obtained by Demon Immortal Chi Ju. The true inheritance regarding the ancient desolate beast violent blood dragon bat was obtained by Shadow Sect. It ended up in Song Zixing's hands. Central Continent's blood deity Immortal Gu True Inheritance was fought over by the 10 great ancient sects. Most of it was destroyed. The remnant recipe of blood deity Immortal Gu was obtained by Myriad Dragon Doc. Of the remaining 3 true inheritances, because of the changes in heaven and earth, Blood Skull Immortal Gu was destroyed due to the volcanic eruption. Blood Sweat Gu was mysteriously taken. It had not appeared until now. Maybe something happened to the person who took it. The Blood Battle Gu True Inheritance was accidentally destroyed by an immemorial desolate beast. After Giant Sun Immortal revived, he collected all of the Huang Jin tribe's blood path research results. Longevity Heaven also had some results. Next, he ordered Earth Extremity Gon and I to refine Immortal Gu. He obtained several Blood Path Immortal Gu, but only Blood Battle Immortal Gu was included. As for the other 7 Immortal Gu, other than Blood Deity Immortal Gu, he had already tried them. The result was that these Immortal Gu all existed in the world. Without a choice, Giant Sun Immortal had to use Imitation Gu to temporarily turn into Blood Relation Gu. He was barely able to construct a blood path formation and successfully revive in Crazed Demon Cave. I have already digested the blood path primordial domain. My blood path attainment level has also reached Supreme Grandmaster now. But there were too few blood path Immortal Gu. Giant Sun Immortal first absorbed the primordial domain in Crazed Demon Cave and reached Luck Path Supreme Grandmaster attainment level. Then he snatched the primordial domain. His first focus was on blood path. He snatched a lot of the primordial domain. He did not have time to absorb it back then. But now, he had secretly absorbed all the blood path related primordial domain. In terms of attainment level, he was the number 1 blood path person in the 5 regions and 2 heavens. But back then, he felt awkward, like he could not make bricks without straw. He needed more and more crucial blood path Immortal Gu. Among them, the ones that Giant Sun Immortal yearned for were Blood Asset Immortal Gu, blood skull immortal goo, bloodline immortal goo, blood relation immortal goo, and others. But the reality was, these immortal goo all had owners. Gon and I have been refining all sorts of blood path immortal goo for Giant Sun immortal. Blood rope immortal goo was one of the results. But these immortal goo were too low level. They were not suitable for Giant Sun immortal. He needed to at least raise these blood path immortal goo to rank 8. It was too difficult for Gon and I to complete this task. Gon and I dual cultivated earth path and refinement path. She was not a pure refinement path goo immortal. Even for a goo immortal who cultivated path, the efficiency of refining rank 8 immortal goo was very low. If long hair ancestor was still alive, it would be much more convenient. Giant Sun immortal started to miss long hair ancestor. Back then, he had asked long hair ancestor to refine so many luck path immortal goo, gradually building 88-point Jinyang Tower. Feng Yuan refined so many blood path immortal goo, be it for this or for refining blood path immortal goo in the future. I need to transact with him. Giant Sun immortal found that he could not avoid Feng Yuan. Especially when Feng Yang and Feng Yuan's public transaction succeeded. Giant Sun immortal found out about Celestial Court's ambiguous attitude. Celestial Court had already done this. If Giant Sun immortal did not follow them, he would be left behind by Feng Yuan and Star Constellation immortal venerable. I will let Heavenly Lord Baizu do it. I will buy blood path immortal goo from Feng Yuan. Isn't he close to Feng Yuan? Giant Sun immortal made up his mind. Next, he started to deduce blood path immortal goo recipes, as well as more blood path killer moves. His blood path supreme grandmaster attainment level was his greatest source of confidence. Of course, on the other hand, he was also using all sorts of methods to search for the blood path research results of the super forces, as well as the outstanding blood path inheritances that had been passed down. After all, deducing these immortal goo recipes and immortal killer moves required time and effort. If he had any results, it would save Giant Sun immortal a lot of time and resources. Celestial Court. 2 days ago, Star Constellation immortal venerable had already stopped refining Celestial Court's wisdom path Dao marks. It was not that she did not want to, but her situation was the same as Giant Sun immortal. Her immortal essence reserves had reached the limit. She had no choice but to stop. Star Constellation immortal venerable's situation was different from Giant Sun immortal's. Her previous life's venerable immortal aperture had already been contributed to Celestial Court, while Celestial Court had annexed a large number of immemorial 9 heavens fragments. Under the corrosion of providence, her wisdom path Dao marks had turned into natural Dao marks. She could not be like Giant Sun immortal, who could retrieve her original venerable immortal aperture and increase the number of her Dao marks. But she had an advantage. Celestial Court had far more wisdom path Dao marks than Star Constellation immortal venerable's previous life. Chapter 2277. Eastern Sea. This should be enough, I should stop for now. Feng Yuan willed as he stopped refining Dao marks. Feng Yuan had over 100 beads of yellow apricot immortal essence in the sovereign immortal aperture. But Feng Yuan did not stop refining natural Dao marks because of his immortal essence storage. In fact, while he was refining Eastern Sea's refinement path Dao marks on the surface, he was actually dispelling the truthful floating ice. Most of his yellow apricot immortal essence was used to dispel the truthful floating ice. Only a small portion was used to refine Eastern Sea's refinement path Dao marks. This performance allowed Star Constellation immortal venerable and Giant Sun immortal to stay in their respective headquarters. They did not find trouble with Feng Yuan. Oh, Giant Sun immortal has stopped refining natural Dao marks. Feng Yuan's eyes shined. This information could not be concealed. And because the 3 venerables paid close attention to each other, Feng Yuan soon learned of it. Giant Sun immortal should not have much immortal essence left. Even though Star Constellation immortal venerable is hiding in Celestial Court, her situation should be the same. Feng Yuan let out a sigh of relief. The 2 venerables' immortal essence reserves were low. They were less likely to find trouble with Feng Yuan. The threat they posed to Feng Yuan was also reduced by several times. Thankfully, I took a risk and succeeded in refining rank 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. Otherwise, I would be in a lot of trouble now. With 3 venerables, once they fell behind, it would be hard to catch up. After all, the 3 venerables were heroes among heroes. Right now, in terms of immortal essence reserves, I am already on par with the 3 venerables. But the truth is, I have many advantages. I have surpassed the 2 venerables. Feng Yuan evaluated. Firstly, rank 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was truly powerful. Next, Feng Yuan's Sovereign Immortal Aperture was reinforced with time path methods. The flow of time was faster than the 2 venerables. In contrast, Giant Sun Immortal and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had conflicting Dao marks. There were almost no time path methods that could affect their immortal apertures. Finally, Feng Yuan's Sovereign Immortal Aperture's foundation far surpassed the 2 venerables' immortal apertures that he had just started developing. The amount of yellow apricot immortal essence produced by the immortal aperture origin core was much higher than the 2 venerables. With these 3 factors combined, Feng Yuan's yellow apricot immortal elemental energy output was much higher than the 2 venerables. When Feng Yuan was refining the natural Dao marks, he tried his best to look like he was having a hard time continuing, stopping frequently. Because of obscured heavenly secret, the 2 venerables did not know that Feng Yuan had ranked 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. And because the 2 venerables knew about the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, they understood the disadvantage of non-conflicting Dao marks. They felt that Feng Yuan would not take the risk to increase the speed of time. As for the amount of immortal essence produced by the immortal aperture origin core, because the Sovereign Immortal Aperture had just gone through a small chaotic disaster, as well as Giant Sun Immortal's blessing and disaster ambush, the 2 venerables had underestimated the Sovereign Immortal Aperture's foundation. Especially during this period of time, Feng Yuan was refining Gu publicly in jewel yellow skies. He was willing to pay immortal Gu to purchase all kinds of resource points. He did not conceal his intention of constructing earth veins and water veins. This kind of full-on construction of the immortal aperture was seen by the 2 venerables. It only confirmed their guess that the Sovereign Immortal Aperture had suffered great losses in Crazed Demon Cave. Feng Yuan tried to guess the 2 venerables' thoughts. In their opinion, I need to work on the immortal essence production. Refining rank 9 immortal Gu is too risky. Accelerating the immortal aperture's time will lead to calamities and tribulations. I will expose my weakness. Thus, I can only develop the immortal aperture madly, to make the immortal aperture origin core deeper, and produce even more yellow apricot immortal essence. But if I expose even the slightest flaw, the 2 venerables might be suspicious. Especially Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, she is the #1 wisdom path person in history. It will be very difficult to deceive her. Feng Yuan was treading on thin ice. He knew that if he maintained the current situation, it would be a rare victory. He could not expose even the slightest flaw. Once there was a flaw, the 2 venerables would immediately magnify it. They would quickly probe it with full force. Once the truth was exposed, what would happen? Feng Yuan would definitely be attacked by the 2 venerables. Feng Yuan did not know how long he could conceal it. After all, he was facing 2 of the most outstanding Gu cultivators in history. Who knew his secret might be exposed at the next moment? If that happened, Feng Yuan would not find it strange. No longer distracted by refining refinement path Dao marks, Feng Yuan started to unravel the truthful floating ice with all his strength. His intuition told him that he was about to make a huge gain. As expected, a few days later, his heaven path attainment level rose again, reaching quasi-grandmaster level. Even though he did not reach grandmaster level, Feng Yuan had a deep foundation. He felt a strong sense of confidence. If I deduce with all my strength now, I will definitely be able to deduce a heaven path killer move that will allow me to take the primordial domain. Feng Yuan's primordial domain was still inside jewel yellow skies. The goods inside jewel yellow skies could not be used inside jewel yellow skies. Thus, Feng Yuan's plan of selling his clone and absorbing the primordial domain had no chance of success from the start. Only when Feng Yuan took out the primordial domain Would he be able to absorb it and raise his attainment level? Unraveling the truthful floating ice mainly increases Heaven Path Tao marks, followed by Heaven Path attainment level, and finally the attainment level of the other paths. This final increase in attainment level is not obvious. It seems to be a bonus of the truthful floating ice. It only takes up a small proportion. As long as I rely on the primordial domain, I will be able to raise the attainment levels of the other paths. But is there a need for that now? Feng Yuan thought about it carefully before shaking his head. Deducing a Heaven Path killer move was not a problem for Feng Yuan. Feng Yuan was wary of the two venerables. Once he took out the primordial domain, his Heaven Path method would be exposed. The two venerables would be wary first. Feng Yuan had the sovereign immortal body. After digesting so much primordial domain, his attainment level would definitely rise sharply. His threat level would increase greatly. Then, the two venerables would be suspicious. How could Feng Yuan have such a Heaven Path method? Feng Yuan did not show it before, but now that he had this Heaven Path method, it meant that he had made a lot of progress in his Heaven Path cultivation. It was easy to link this to the truthful floating ice. After all, Feng Yuan had obtained the most truthful floating ice among the three venerables. If Feng Yuan's progress in Heaven Path came from unraveling the truthful floating ice, then where did the immortal essence he needed to unravel the truthful floating ice come from? Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Limitless Demon Venerable had cooperated for a long time to maintain the crazed demon formation. She had also become one with the Tao and created the killer move workers of Heaven's work. She definitely knew the immortal essence expenditure of unraveling the truthful floating ice. Once she found something amiss, she would inform Giant Sun Immortal. The two venerables would work together to deal with and suppress Feng Yuan. Just like what Feng Yuan had thought of earlier. Once a small flaw was exposed, the two venerables would work together to suppress him. The possibility of that was too high. I can deduce the Heaven Path killer move secretly, but I need to postpone collecting the primordial domain. Even though the primordial domain was very useful to Feng Yuan, it was not crucial. It would also attract the attacks of the two venerables. Feng Yuan would lose his current advantage. That would be a huge loss. No, I can postpone deductions of the Heaven Path killer move. After all, once I grasp this method, my luck will rise sharply. Now that I have rank 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, I have already increased the burden of obscured heavenly secret, causing its consumption to increase. What I need to do now is to refine a second rank 9 Immortal Goo. This thought had been in Feng Yuan's mind for a long time. As for what Immortal Goo to refine, Feng Yuan already had an answer. That was Advanced Refinement Goo. Not Spring Autumn Cicada, Dog Shit Luck, Attitude Goo, or Dream Token Goo, but Advanced Refinement Goo. Once Advanced Refinement Goo became rank 9, it would be of great help to Feng Yuan when he refines other rank 8 Immortal Goo. For example, when Feng Yuan refined Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, if he had rank 9 Advanced Refinement Goo, the difficulty would be reduced by at least half. Feng Yuan had two advantages in refining rank 9 Advanced Refinement Goo. The first advantage was that Feng Yuan had rank 8 Advanced Refinement Goo. This Advanced Refinement Goo came from Langya sect. It was the core of the long hair refinement path formation, and later became the core of Feng Yuan's 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool. The second advantage was that Advanced Refinement Goo was a refinement path Immortal Goo. Even though some rule path immortal materials would be used in the process, it was far better than Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. Refinement path immortal materials were the majority. Feng Yuan was a refinement path venerable. He could be said to be flawless in handling refinement path immortal materials. This way, the success rate would be greatly increased. Just as Feng Yuan was secretly refining rank 9 Advanced Refinement Goo. Western Desert. At the heart of Wind Falcon Desert. Rumble. With a loud sound, sand and dust flew in the air. An immortal Goo house charged out of the ground. It was one of Feng Clan's rank 7 immortal Goo houses, Chicken Dog Co-op. This immortal Goo house was like 2 pavilions built side by side. Right now, Feng Clan has penetrated deep into our Wan Clan's territory. If we purely defend, We will only get beaten up and fall into Fong Clan's trap. We might as well attack and occupy Fong Clan's resource points. We will fight attack with attack. Wan Haoguang's gaze brightened as he sized up Wan Jueqing and patted his shoulder. Good lad, you have improved. But do you think First Supreme Elder has not thought of this? Wan Haoguang shook his head. The reason why First Supreme Elder wants us to reinforce them is because he does not have confidence in repelling Fong Clan's army. Fong Clan's First Supreme Elder Fong Gong has rank 8 cultivation, and his whereabouts are not obvious. He is likely inside Immortal Goo House Chicken Dog Co-op. According to your plan, even if we attack Fong Clan's resource points, once Tall Pine Oasis is lost, our Wan Clan will also suffer a huge loss. Even if we add up all of Fong Clan's resource points, they cannot compare to our Tall Pine Oasis. Wan Jueqing's face was pale. At this moment, he deeply realized the cruelty of reality. Not knowing Fong Clan's true plan, Wan Haoguang risked his life to reinforce them. Because Wan Clan's Tall Pine Oasis could not be lost. Boom! The formation base was destroyed. A huge hole was opened in the Immortal Formation. Chicken Dog Coop directly charged in. Wan Xiao had a furious expression, but he could only grit his teeth and support the broken formation with all his strength. Wind falcons screeched. Their beautiful home was invaded. These wind falcons were stimulated and attacked Chicken Dog Coop, as well as the chickens and dogs that Fong Clan had sent out earlier. At once, they fought fiercely and blood splattered. The cries of chickens, barks of dogs, and the cries of falcons mixed together and resounded in the whole battlefield. An immemorial wind falcon clawed fiercely, breaking a roof of Chicken Dog Co-op. The Fong Clan Gu immortals inside were already prepared. They methodically repaired the roof. Fong Dichang laughed heartily. What a great immemorial desolate beast, come in. At the next moment, Chicken Dog Coop burst out with a pillar of light. The light pillar enveloped the immemorial wind falcon and pulled it back. The immemorial wind falcon struggled with all its strength, but its body became smaller and smaller. Its resistance also became weaker and weaker. It was finally devoured by Chicken Dog Co-op. What? This Immortal Goo House can actually suppress the immemorial wind falcon? Wan Zhao's heart shook fiercely again. Chicken Dog Coop was an enslavement path Immortal Goo House that could only enslave chickens and dogs. To think that it had a new ability now. Enough, enough. Fong Clan, you will pay the price for this one day. I swear, I Wan Xiao swear. Wan Xiao watched as the wind falcons were suppressed in large numbers by Chicken Dog Coop. He screamed in his heart. Fortunately, this situation did not last long. Wan Clan's First Supreme Elder appeared in the sky with Wan Clan's Immortal Goo House. Wan Zhao's heart immediately relaxed. Its winding light platform. Fong Dichang muttered to himself when he saw this. This winding light platform was a light path rank 7 Immortal Goo House. It was gray-white in color, and had 8 sides and 8 corners. On the tall mountain, Wan Clan's First Supreme Elder stood straight like a spear. His face filled with anger as he stared fixedly at Chicken Dog Co-op. Both sides were still several li away, when winding light platforms suddenly burst out with 4 pillars of light. The pillars of light actually curved in the air, and attacked Chicken Dog Coop agilely. Under Fong Dichang's control, Chicken Dog Coop activated a defensive killer move to block these 4 pillars of light. In just a short while, winding light platform arrived in front of Chicken Dog Co-op. Bam! With a loud sound, Wan Clan's First Supreme Elder fiercely activated winding light platform, directly crashing into Chicken Dog Co-op. The 2 Immortal Goo houses collided. A large number of mortal goo turned into fragments and flew back. Hee, Wan Clan's First Supreme Elder, you have such a temper. Fong Dichang's voice resounded in the battlefield. Wan Clan's First Supreme Elder and Wan Zhao's expressions changed. Fong Dichang? Weren't you trapped in Emperor City? No, Divine Emperor City. The corners of Fong Dichang's mouth twitched, his voice quickly turning gloomy. This is not important. Wan Clan, this time, I will teach you a lesson on behalf of Fong Clan. Not any random force can find trouble with my Fong Clan. Shameless boasting. Wan Clan's First Supreme Elder shouted angrily. Winding light platform erupted with a killer move again. Dozens of pillars of light swept across, forcing Chicken Dog Coop to retreat. The ancient desolate beasts such as chickens and dogs suffered disastrous casualties under the light pillars. Even the earth path Immortal Goo House deep underground was heavily damaged. The main body of the Immortal Goo House was almost destroyed. Fang clan can move underground and enter deep into the heart of the enemy's territory to launch a surprise attack. It is very likely due to this earth path Immortal Goo House. But this Immortal Goo House seems to be very weak, at least in terms of defense. Wang clan's first Supreme Elder was immediately overjoyed. Fang Gong fiercely restrained Winding Light Platform, while Chicken Dog Coop also attacked. Winding Light Platform lasted for a while before collapsing. Wang clan's first Supreme Elder was extremely furious as he attacked Fang Gong. Fang Gong's expression was indifferent. Wang clan's first Supreme Elder, remember this moment. Our Fang clan is not to be trifled with. This Winding Light Platform is the price you have to pay for recklessly attacking us. Fang Gong lightly punched towards Wang clan's first Supreme Elder, maintaining a strong momentum. Wang clan's first Supreme Elder only had rank 7 cultivation level. Fang Gong simply did not care about him. But at the next moment, Wang clan's first Supreme Elder's expression suddenly froze. His killer move's activation failed, and he was hit by Fang Gong's punch, turning into meat paste on the spot, losing his life. Everyone was stunned, including Fang Gong and Fang Dichang. First Supreme Elder. Wan Xiao cried out miserably. He rode on his winged falcon and took the chance to escape Tall Pine Oasis. His action startled the Fang clan immortals. What do we do now? Fang Gong transmitted to Fang Dichang with an awkward expression. Fang Dichang's expression was grim. How could Wang clan's first Supreme Elder be killed? This was not in line with the previous plan. Fang clan's true target was Wang clan's Immortal Goo House. Wang clan had 2 Immortal Goo Houses, both rank 7 and able to resist rank 8. This was Wang clan's foundation as a super force. Its importance was far greater than Tall Pine Oasis. Destroying Winding Light Platform would be Fang clan's greatest victory. Fang clan's reputation would rise greatly. No other super force would dare to ally with others to deal with Fang clan. In contrast, Wang clan had 2 rank 7 Immortal Goo Houses. After losing one, they could only hide in their territory and not cause any trouble. But it was different now. Wang clan's first Supreme Elder's death was a huge problem. Wang clan would definitely take revenge and gather Western Desert's righteous path forces in the name of revenge. They would definitely form a punitive expedition against Fang clan. Because Fang clan had gone too far. Not only did they fight without a declaration, they even killed their first Supreme Elder. This was like a neighbor suddenly barging into the house one day and killing the male owner. Such a Fang clan was completely the work of the demonic path. Righteous path super forces would definitely panic, afraid that they would be the next Wang clan. Thus, Western Desert super forces would definitely ally. I had already held back with that punch, but Wang clan's first Supreme Elder was agitated at that time and seemed to have triggered the backlash of the killer move. He actually lost his life due to a freak combination of factors. Fang Gong sighed. Although they won, Fang Gong was not happy. The Fang clan Goo immortals present had heavy hearts, because everyone knew that this matter had blown up. Except for one person. Chapter 2280. In Fang Dichang's mind, a vast number of thoughts rose and collapsed like a tall building. After thousands of collapses, Fang Dichang was drenched in sweat, and his face was flushed red. Clearly, his wisdom path deductions had reached their limits. Oh no, this is terrible. Fang Dichang muttered with an unsightly expression. The results of his deductions already showed him Fang clan's miserable future. Earlier, Wang clan's summons failed and Fang clan escaped. It was mainly because of the unclear relationship between Fang clan and Fang Yuan. Adding on the disappearance of the 5 regional walls and the merging of the 2 heavens, Goo immortals were all vigilant and worried. However, Fang Dichang was very clear what the so-called Great Love Immortal Venerable's true appearance was. If something happened to Fang clan, and they were attacked by Western Desert super forces, Fang Yuan would absolutely not help them. Fang Yuan only cared about practical benefits. Unless Fang clan offered a high price that moved Fang Yuan, Fong Yuan would absolutely not help Fong Clan. Like this time, Fong Clan had the intention to attack one clan, and secretly transacted with Fong Yuan. Fong Clan paid a lot of resource points to exchange for mini immortal goo, to advance the core immortal goo of roof tile breaking killer move, and to barely construct that earth path immortal goo house. Once Fong Yuan did not help, the true relationship between Fong Clan and Fong Yuan would be exposed, and Fong Clan would face a calamity. Could Fong Clan pay a high enough price for Fong Yuan to help them? Fong Dichong had no confidence in this. What worried him the most was that Fong Clan could pay a high price for Fong Yuan's help. If other super forces followed suit, how could Fong Clan be their match? No matter what Fong Clan chooses, Fong Yuan will be the biggest winner. Fong Dichong gritted his teeth inwardly. He was filled with hatred. Fong Yuan destroyed his body and captured his soul. Fong Dichong naturally could not forget this hatred. What should we do? This Wang Clan first Supreme Elder is truly a disgrace to Wang Clan. He is actually so weak. Perhaps we can revive him? Fong Gong furrowed his brows and made a suggestion. Fong Dichong shook his head slowly. He had already thought of this idea in his mind, but it was not feasible. Not to mention that Fong Clan did not have a method to revive Gu Immortals. To revive Wang Clan's first Supreme Elder, they would need to seek help from others. Even if he succeeded in resurrecting the Wang Clan's first Supreme Elder, would the hatred this time disappear? Just like Fong Dichong himself, he was killed by Fong Yuan once, and his soul became a captive before being released by Fong Yuan. Could the hatred between him and Fong Yuan be eliminated just like that? How could this be? On the contrary, this hatred grew even stronger. It could be said that the hatred between Fong Clan and Wang Clan was very hard to wash away. Wang Clan would definitely take revenge. In this situation, Fong Clan reviving Wang Clan's first Supreme Elder was reviving their enemy, and then letting him find trouble with them. That was stupid. Of course, Gu Immortals had countless methods, they were uncountable. It was not that there was no way to resolve the hatred. For example, the well-known spring and autumn cicada. As long as one succeeded in rebirth, everything could be restarted. There were also wisdom path methods that changed the emotions of Wang Clan's immortals. But for these methods to be effective against Wang Clan's immortals, they had to be of extremely high rank. Fong Clan could not grasp them. Huff! Fong Dichong let out a breath of turbid air. His eyes flickered with a sharp light as he said solemnly, "Right now, we can only continue down this path. We will attack Wang Clan's headquarters. We must deal a heavy blow to Wang Clan." Fong Gong squinted. The other Fong Clan Gu Immortals felt a chill in their hearts when they heard this. This matter had already escalated. Fong Clan was definitely in deep trouble. In that case, there was no need to be hesitant. They might as well go all out and weaken Wang Clan with all their strength. All right, Fong Gong was decisive, and immediately made his decision. Fong Clan immediately stored Chicken Dog Coop, and moved the Earth Path Immortal Gu House, charging towards Wang Clan's headquarters from underground. However, when they entered Wang Clan's headquarters, they found that there was no one inside. Wang Clan's Gu Immortals had retreated in advance. Wang Clan's only remaining Immortal Gu House, Myriad Age Building, along with many resources in the headquarters, and Wang Clan's treasury, had completely vanished. Fong Clan's immortals had ashen expressions. This was the most disadvantageous situation for Fong Clan. After a moment of silence, Fong Dichong suggested, "First Supreme Elder, for now, I would like you and Chicken Dog Coop to sweep through Wang Clan's resource points. Meanwhile, I will lead the group back to the headquarters and prepare for battle." Fong Gong nodded slowly. "That is the only way." Fong Dicheng's expression was extremely solemn. "If Fong Clan wants to get through this crisis, we need to hold on to Fong Yuan's thigh tightly. First Supreme Elder, the more resource points you can seize, the more immortal gu our Fong Clan can obtain from Fong Yuan. That is how much hope we have." "I understand." Fong Gong selected the two and entered Chicken Dog Coop, quickly vanishing into the horizon. Meanwhile, Fong Dichong led the rest of the Fong Clan immortals, and moved the Earth Path Immortal Gu House back to Fong Clan's headquarters. A storm was brewing, lightning was descending. Fong Clan was extremely nervous. They were like fierce tigers that sensed the threat of life and death. Their hair stood on end, and their eyes were wide open as they fought with all their strength against the backlash of the beasts. Eastern Sea. The sea breeze blew gently, seagulls chirped softly. Fang Yuan leisurely controlled the Gu refinement. Inside the sovereign immortal aperture, the refinement of rank 9 advanced refinement Gu had already reached the latter stages. It was too easy. This was Fang Yuan's biggest feeling. Even though this was the refinement of a rank 9 immortal Gu, it was completely different from the previous time. This time, Fang Yuan did not have the external pressure of giant sun immortal, star constellation immortal venerable, and spectral soul demon venerable. He did not need to guard the heavenly spirit. There was another crucial point. Heavenly essence treasure imperial lotus was a wood path immortal Gu, while advanced refinement Gu was a refinement path immortal Gu. The latter was what Fang Yuan was most proficient in. Processing refinement path immortal materials was much easier than processing wood path immortal materials. Fang Yuan was even refining rank 9 immortal Gu while dealing with other matters. The Fang clan quickly sent a letter with a list of items. There were more than 10 resource points on the list. There was no lack of large resource points. There was even a super resource point. These last few days, Fang Gong displayed the strength of a rank 8 Gu immortal. Fang Dichang controlled the situation and sent inquiry doc out. Fang clan swept through one clan's territories and occupied many resource points. It seems that Fang clan's gains are not small. Everyone has potential after all. If they don't force themselves, how can they erupt? Fang Yuan smiled lightly. After Fang clan joined the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance, they secretly proposed transactions. Seeing the immortal Gu that Fang clan wanted to trade, Fang Yuan deduced their intentions. Putting himself in their shoes, it was reasonable for Fang clan to take revenge on Wang clan in order to protect themselves. After all, in Western Desert, Tang clan was intentionally hidden by Fang Yuan among the entire Western Desert super forces. Only Fang clan had a close relationship with Fang Yuan. This was too special. When Wang clan summoned Western Desert's righteous path to attack Fang clan, it had already deeply provoked Fang clan. After Wang clan's summon failed, Fang clan let out a sigh of relief and decided to attack Wang clan. This was a wise move of using offense as defense. Fang Yuan saw this and had a plan. On one hand, he added fuel to the fire and helped Fang clan achieve their goal, causing their strength to rise sharply. On the other hand, Fang Yuan ordered Tang clan to teach Tang Fangming a Dream Path killer move and rent a Dream Path immortal Gu. Right now, Fang clan was schemed against by Fang Yuan and became the source of Western Desert's chaos. In order to protect themselves, they had to cooperate more closely with Fang Yuan and seize more resource points for Fang Yuan. On the other hand, Tang clan plotted against Fang clan. This was equivalent to Fang Yuan obtaining a huge leverage over them. Fang Yuan's influence on Tang clan also deepened. In Fang clan's letter, not only did they request for more immortal Gu, they also requested Fang Yuan to personally go to Western Desert when necessary and display the invincible might of great love immortal venerable. For this, Fang clan was willing to pay everything. You want me to take action? Fang Yuan sneered. How could this be? Right now, the three venerables were in a stalemate. Every second mattered. It was impossible for Fang Yuan to personally take action for Fang clan. He was using Fang clan as a pawn. And pawns were pawns, they had to be sacrificed when necessary. Unless the pawn's value was extremely high and irreplaceable, he would not personally protect it. Was there anyone among Fang Yuan's subordinates that was irreplaceable? No. When Fang Yuan was ruthless, he could even discard his own clone without hesitation. Why would he take action for Fang clan? Celestial Court. Star constellation Immortal Venerable had just started to refine Celestial Court's wisdom path downmarks when important information arrived. There is a change in Western Desert. Fang clan is invading Wang clan? Starlight flickered in star constellation Immortal Venerable's eyes. Fang clan is so aggressive, there must be something fishy. Is it Fang Yuan, who is secretly adding fuel to the fire? Star constellation Immortal Venerable quickly thought of this. After all, Fang clan had publicly joined the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance. The entire 5 regions knew about it. This time, Fang clan's strength has risen sharply. It is clearly because of Fang Yuan's support. Wang clan was caught off guard. Wang clan's first supreme elder died in battle. This shows that Fang Yuan is intentionally stirring up a storm in Western Desert. Fang clan is actually willing to follow Fang Yuan's orders, risking the entire clan's survival. It seems that Fang Yuan's influence on Fang clan is deeper than I thought. Not good. Star constellation Immortal Venerable frowned slightly. She soon realized Fang Yuan's true motive. Fang Yuan does not care about Fang clan. Even though he needs resource points to develop the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, his main goal is to set an example for Fang clan, to influence the entire 5 regions and 2 heavens Gu Immortal World. Fang Yuan was a refinement path venerable. It was easy for him to refine Immortal Gu. With Shifeng's investment, any superpower's strength would skyrocket in secret. As the saying goes, with a sharp weapon in hand, one's killing intent would rise. Fang Yuan's simple transaction broke the balance of forces that had been formed for a long time in the 5 regions Gu Immortal World. Right now, Western Desert super forces had already realized the benefits of transacting with Fang Yuan. On one side, Fang Yuan was publicly trading Immortal Gu in jewel yellow skies. Only super forces would be able to afford the price. On the other side, he had opened the door of the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance. He allowed any superforce to join. Moreover, once they joined, they could transact in secret and even obtain a lot of benefits. Because Fang clan joined the alliance, they were able to transact in secret, and their strength rose sharply. Now Wang clan's Gu Immortals did not dare to show their faces. Wang clan's resource points, big or small, were at Fang clan's disposal. This was too bad. Fang clan's profits were tempting, while Wang clan's miserable state made everyone feel insecure. In this situation, what could super forces do? Joining the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance was the easiest choice. Literature Hall. Chapter 2281. All along, Fang Yuan's external policies have been very flexible. For example, the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance and the Sovereign Immortal Aperture's Contribution Board, Mission Board, and Exchange Board had different contents. Similarly, when Eastern Sea Gu Immortals joined the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance, they would be restricted by the Alliance rules. But for the other 4 regions outside of Eastern Sea, the Alliance rules for joining the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance were very loose. There were almost no restrictions. From this point alone, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had experienced Fang Yuan's craftiness. She had a clear understanding of Western Desert's situation. We need to suppress Fang clan. We cannot let them rise. If necessary, we need to exterminate them. Otherwise, if other super forces follow suit, Fang Yuan's influence in the 5 regions will be greatly boosted. Fang Yuan relied on Immortal Gu trading and other methods to easily manipulate the situation of the 5 regions Gu Immortal World. As the saying went, humans die in pursuit of wealth, and birds die in pursuit of food. If things developed like this and became common knowledge, Fang Yuan's influence would spread throughout the 5 regions in the future. Even if there were no 5 regions, there would be 3 regions. By then, with just a thought from Fang Yuan, he could influence Southern Border, Western Desert, and Eastern Sea to attack Central Continent. Of course, no matter how many Gu Immortals the 3 regions had, they could not do anything to Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. Venerables were invincible, especially Venerables, who were starting to display the might of Tao Lords. But Venerables were threats to each other. If Fang Yuan's influence could make the 3 regions Gu Immortals become cannon fodder, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would have to personally defend Central Continent. This way, the situation of the 3 Venerables would change. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would be burdened by these cannon fodder, while Fang Yuan would take the chance to surpass them. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was the #1 wisdom path Gu Immortal in history. The moment Fang Yuan used this vicious plan, she saw through it immediately. Right now, the 3 Venerables are fighting to refine natural Tao marks. Fang Yuan is lagging behind the most, So he is using this plan to shorten the gap. How can it go as you wish? Star constellation Immortal Venerable made her decision. Zhou Xiong Xian, Wan Zihong, go to Western Desert. Western Desert. Sun family's headquarters. Sun clan's first supreme elder was meeting Wan Hao Guang and Wan Xiao, two Wan clan Gu immortals. Fang clan attacked my Wan clan without any prior notice, and now they are crazily occupying the major resource points of my Wan clan. They are already frenzied and vicious. This kind of behavior was completely demonic. The entire Fang clan had already fallen into the demonic path. The entire Fang clan was the biggest demonic nest in Western Desert. Your clan is one of the pillars of the Western Desert righteous path. How can you sit and watch in such a situation? Wan Hao Guang said righteously. Sun family's first supreme elder nodded and said, Wan Hao Guang is right. My Sun family will do our best to protect the righteous path of heaven and earth. It's just that the Sun family is in a difficult situation now. The Sun clan's first grand elder spoke of the Sun clan's predicament. But at the end, he patted his chest and said that as long as the Wan clan successfully contacted the other superpowers, the Sun clan would definitely join in and do their best for the common people of the Western Desert. This old fox. Wan Hao Guang was extremely furious after leaving the Sun clan's headquarters. Wan Xiao laughed bitterly. Among the Western Desert superpowers, the Sun family is the most cowardly. It is not strange for Sun family's first supreme elder to say this. His expression is already the greatest sincerity he could muster. Next, which one should we go to persuade? Just as he said this, two figures flew over from the horizon. Their rank 8 auras were not concealed at all. Who is it? They are Gu immortals of Celestial Court. Wan Xiao and Wan Hao Guang had vigilant expressions. They were not afraid. After all, Myriad Age Building was with them. The two immortals of Celestial Court were Zhou Xiong Xian and Wan Zihong. Friends from Wan clan, please wait a moment. We are here to help Wan clan. Zhou Xiong Xian greeted them from afar. Wan Xiao and Wan Hao Guang looked at each other, seeing the joy in each other's eyes. Immediately, the two stopped in the air, concealing their joy and showing vigilance. The two immortals of Celestial Court stopped when they were 1,000 steps away, expressing that they had no ill intentions. Wan Zihong did not speak. Zhou Xiong Xian explained his intentions. Fang clan joined the so-called Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance, receiving the support of Heaven Refining Demon Venerable. They are trying to overthrow Western Desert's righteous path and turn the whole of Western Desert into a demonic den. Although Celestial Court is the leader of Central Continent, it cannot bear to watch such a situation. Thus it sent us to help you, to kill the demonic wind and restore peace to the 5 regions. Wan Hao Guang asked, how will Celestial Court help? If necessary, will Star Constellation Immortal Venerable personally take action? These two questions were very crucial. Celestial Court's help was not a good thing for Wan clan. If it was not handled well, Wan clan's situation would worsen. They might even be consigned to eternal damnation. Why? Because Celestial Court was a Central Continent force, while this was Western Desert. Although the 5 regional walls had dissipated in the hearts of Gu immortals, how could the 5 regional walls that had existed since the beginning of the world collapse so easily? If Celestial Court's Gu immortals personally intervened in Wan clan's battle, then Wan clan would be publicly recognized as a subordinate of Celestial Court, the bridgehead of Central Continent's forces in Western Desert. In this situation, Western Desert super forces would be extremely vigilant. They would all retreat. Wan clan would lose the legitimate reason to summon Western Desert super forces. They would become a target that everyone would be on guard against. This way, the civil war between Western Desert's forces would turn into a situation where Fang Yuan and Fang clan faced off against Celestial Court and Wan clan. Zhou Xiong Xian smiled. Don't worry, we Celestial Court's Gu immortals will not personally intervene in this battle against Fang clan. Wan Hao Guang and Wan Xiao immediately let out sighs of relief. Celestial Court's Gu immortals could not directly intervene. Next, Zhou Xiong Xian continued. The conflict between Wan clan and Fang clan is Western Desert's internal affair. The reason why Celestial Court is supporting Wan clan is to deal with heaven-refining demon Venerable Guyue and Feng Yuan. Once Feng Yuan personally takes action, or sends his subordinates, star constellation Immortal Venerable will not just stand by and watch. At the same time, Celestial Court's immortals will also take action to protect the world's justice and peace. Wan Haoguang and Wan Xiao could no longer hold back their joy. All along, what they were most wary of was the relationship between Feng Clan and Feng Yuan. Once Feng Yuan took action, which Western Desert Superforce could resist him? None of them could withstand it. Celestial Court's guarantee immediately removed Wan Clan's greatest worry. Wan Clan would then summon Western Desert's forces. And after these forces learn of this situation, they would definitely take action and help Wan Clan. Wan Xiao asked. Feng Clan joined the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance after all. They used their resource points to exchange for a large number of Immortal Gu, and even formed a brand new Immortal Gu house. Now they are crazily demolishing our clan's resource points. Their intentions are clear. In this situation, can Celestial Court sell some Immortal Gu to our Wan Clan? Wan Haoguang's eyes were also shining as he looked at Celestial Court's two immortals. Zhou Xiong Xian sneered in his heart. Wishful thinking. Immortal Gu are unique. Celestial Court's Immortal Gu are barely enough. Why would they sell them? At the same time, a smile appeared on his face. Immortal Gu cannot be sold, but they can be rented. On the other hand, Immortal Killer moves and Immortal Gu recipes can also be considered for transactions. Zhou Xiong Xian's following quotation immediately made Wan Xiao and Wan Haoguang's expressions turn unsightly. Celestial Court's asking price was very high. Wan Clan would have to bleed a lot to get anything. There is a price for upholding justice, friends. Zhou Xiong Xian suddenly lowered his voice. In fact, Celestial Court still has an important sponsorship for Wan Clan. It will definitely satisfy your clan. Oh, we would like to hear the details. Eastern Sea. Feng Yuan was currently communicating with Heavenly Lord Baizu. Baizu, you clearly cultivate enslavement path. Why are you exchanging Immortal Gu with me for blood path? Feng Yuan smiled as he asked despite knowing the answer. Heavenly Lord Baizu was far away in northern plains, smiling bitterly. He muttered in his heart. Do you think I am willing? But there was no other way. Giant Sun Immortal had personally summoned Heavenly Lord Baizu for the Blood Path Immortal Gu transaction, asking him to be the middleman and communicate on his behalf. How could Heavenly Lord Baizu refuse? He was only a tiny rank 8 Gu Immortal, and his clan was established in northern plains. He could only agree to Giant Sun Immortal's order. As the saying goes, one had to lower one's head when under someone else's roof. Heavenly Lord Baizu naturally had resentment towards Giant Sun Immortal, but at the same time, he also had resentment towards Feng Yuan. Feng Yuan's declaration of great love had shocked the world. Feng Yuan announced that he was in contact with Gu Immortals and forces of the 5 regions. Among them was the transaction with Heavenly Lord Baizu. It was fake. Heavenly Lord Baizu was so scared that his skewers were burnt. Feng Yuan wanted to use this to sow discord and probe Giant Sun Immortal's reaction. Giant Sun Immortal's philosophy was to rule the world. Heavenly Lord Baizu was not his bloodline descendant. Baizu tribe had always been suppressed and ostracized by the Huangjin tribes. Chapter 2282. In this world, there were genes, oddities, sealed artifacts, runes, Taoism, major thousand realms. Zhang Yi's identity alternated between the young sword grandmaster and the beautiful Yellow Springs queen. He traversed between reality and illusion, searching the past and the future. The hidden history would eventually be revealed, and the dead gods would soon be resurrected. This is a book written by a friend. If anyone is interested, please support it. Venerable Gu recommends The Strange City of Rebirth currently typing. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 2283. Giant Sun Immortal had instructed Heavenly Lord Baizu. As long as there was a possibility, he had to dig out all of Feng Yuan's blood path Immortal Gu. But Heavenly Lord Baizu could not say that now. He mentioned 10 Immortal Gu. Feng Yuan got the information and sneered. These Immortal Gu included Bloodline Immortal Gu, Blood Asset Immortal Gu, Blood Skull Immortal Goo, and Blood Qi Immortal Goo. Fang Yuan had Bloodline Immortal Goo. This immortal goo originally belonged to Wu clan. When Fang Yuan disguised himself as Wu Yihai, Wu clan used Bloodline Goo to test Fang Yuan's authenticity. Later, it was deceived by Fang Yuan and became his. It was not difficult for Giant Sun Immortal to obtain this information. Blood Asset Immortal Goo also belonged to Fang Yuan. This was a goo created by the previous land spirit of Langia, by combining some of the Blood Path Goo recipes in Jewel Yellow Skies. Fang Yuan obtained it from Langia sect. Right now, this Blood Asset Immortal Goo had already risen from rank 6 to rank 8, becoming one of the core immortal goo of 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool. It was also one of the 4 elements. It had great significance. Blood Skull Immortal Goo was also in Fang Yuan's hands. Fang Yuan originally had the rank 4 Blood Skull Mortal Goo. He had used it to raise his aptitude. But Blood Skull Mortal Goo had a high price. To raise a Goo Master's aptitude, he had to kill enough blood relatives. Back on Qingmao Mountain, to raise his aptitude, Fang Yuan almost slaughtered the entire Gua village. At Goo Immortal level, the value of Blood Skull Goo, which could raise aptitude, fell sharply. To many Goo Immortals who fought alone, Blood Skull Goo was of little value. But to a force, Blood Skull Goo was extremely important. Fang Yuan thought he himself would not benefit from the Blood Skull Goo, but other people could use it. The 500 years of memories of his previous life told him that the Blood Skull Immortal Goo true inheritance had been destroyed due to the changes in heaven and earth. Thus, before the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, when he helped many Goo Immortal seeds undergo immortal ascension, he used natural inspiration to ask for a more complete incomplete Blood Skull Immortal Goo recipe. Next, through his own deductions, he obtained Blood Skull Immortal Goo's recipe. According to this Immortal Goo recipe, Fang Yuan easily refined Blood Skull Immortal Goo. As he expected, Blood Skull Immortal Goo's effect was to raise aptitude. Because it was an immortal goo, it was effective on Goo Immortals. The drawback was that he still needed to slaughter his own kin. The higher the Goo Immortals' cultivation level, the larger the scale of slaughtering their kin, to the point where they would need to slaughter the Goo Immortals' kin. As for Blood Qi Immortal Goo, it was in Fang Yuan's hands. Demon Immortal Qi Ju obtained the Blood Qi Immortal Goo true inheritance. He had once transacted with Fang Yuan and obtained the relevant Immortal Goo recipe from Fang Yuan. After Demon Immortal Qi Ju died, Fang Yuan refined it. His current rank was not high, it was only rank 6. Other than that, Fang Yuan had other Blood Path Immortal Goo. For example, Bloodstain Goo, Blood Vow Goo. These 2 Blood Path Immortal Essence were created by Eastern Sea's Blood Path Demonic Immortals, Ding Yan and Ding Qi. One was used for investigation, while the other was used for information path. Fang Yuan did not obtain these 2 Immortal Goo recipes from Ding Yan and Ding Qi, but he knew that these 2 Immortal Goo were destroyed. Using natural inspiration, he asked for a more complete Immortal Goo remnant recipe. Along with his own deductions, he refined it. I'm not afraid to tell you the truth, Bai Zhu. I have a large number of Blood Path Immortal Goo. Fang Yuan said to Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu. Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu quickly praised. Lord Fang Yuan plans for a rainy day. You have great foresight. As a refinement path venerable, you are the #1 refinement path venerable in history. I am filled with admiration. Fang Yuan chuckled. If you want to trade for Blood Path Immortal Goo, then use the primordial domain extraction method to exchange. Before Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu came to find Fang Yuan, he had been instructed by Giant Sun Immortal. Back then, Giant Sun Immortal had told him about the primordial domain extraction method. From Giant Sun Immortal's point of view, Fang Yuan's desire for the primordial domain extraction method was obvious. Didn't he see that in Jewel Yellow Skies, Fang Yuan's primordial domain was still stored here? Fang Yuan had not extracted it yet. It could basically be determined that there was no primordial domain extraction method. Thus, this method was the greatest bargaining chip to purchase Blood Path Immortal Goo. It could be used well. As expected, Fang Yuan immediately suggested this primordial domain extraction method. Giant Sun Immortal was not wrong. Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu was secretly excited. The unease in his heart also dissipated greatly. He purposely remained silent for a while before replying to Feng Yuan. Primordial domain extraction method? Heavenly Lord Baizu purposely showed a difficult expression. Feng Yuan snorted coldly. Don't play tricks. Since you were sent here by Giant Sun Immortal, did Giant Sun Immortal not take care of you? Heavenly Lord Baizu's heart shook. He quickly straightened his posture. Lord Feng Yuan is wise and mighty. You have great insight. Please forgive my offense. Feng Yuan lightly grunted. Then use the primordial domain extraction method to purchase one of my blood path immortal goo. What? Heavenly Lord Baizu was shocked. Feng Yuan was so greedy, he almost did not dare to believe it. Lord Feng Yuan, I think the primordial domain extraction method is extremely valuable. I can safely exchange it for 10 blood path immortal goo. Heavenly Lord Baizu quickly said. Feng Yuan sneered. Hehe, you are asking for too much. You are actually so greedy. Heavenly Lord Baizu. Feng Yuan did not need any primordial domain extraction method. He played around with Heavenly Lord Baizu while refining advanced refinement goo. Inside the sovereign immortal aperture, dozens of rivers were flying in the sky. Each river was filled with all kinds of immortal materials. The rivers converged at times, and separated at other times. In this refinement of rank 9 advanced refinement goo, Feng Yuan mainly used the water refinement method. The core immortal goo of 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool, rank 8 water refinement immortal goo, had been injected with immortal essence since the start of the refinement, almost without stopping. Heavenly Lord Baizu slowly recovered and started to lower the price. Lord Feng Yuan, you must know that I am extremely sincere. The primordial domain extraction method is extremely rare. You must know that. To you, this primordial domain extraction method is extremely valuable. It is what you need the most now. And just 10 blood path immortal goo are not important to you at all. You are a refinement path immortal venerable. Can't you refine any immortal goo with just a thought? Feng Yuan sneered. His attitude quickly turned cold. Back then, I transacted primordial domain with Giant Sun Immortal. Shouldn't he have given me the primordial domain extraction method? Now that I can't extract the primordial domain, I have yet to settle the score with him. But he actually shamelessly wants to sell this thing? I am a grand refinement path venerable. Can't I deduce a rank 9 refinement path killer move to treat the primordial domain as an immortal material and extract the primordial domain? Heavenly Lord Baizu quickly said. Lord Feng Yuan, please don't be angry. Shut up. Feng Yuan continued. Go back and tell that giant Sunday. I am refining blood path immortal goo to make things difficult for him. He wants to cultivate blood path as well. Hehe. I will continue to refine more blood path immortal goo, unless he first takes out the primordial domain extraction method and gives it to me, so that I can see how much sincerity he has. Heavenly Lord Baizu did not dare to speak anymore. He sighed and contacted Giant Sun Immortal. After Giant Sun Immortal learned of this, he immediately scolded. Feng Yuan, you are so arrogant, you dare to threaten me like this. Heavenly Lord Baizu, you are also a trash. Cowering like this, don't you know that you are negotiating with Feng Yuan on my behalf? Heavenly Lord Baizu could only say, Lord Giant Sun, it is my fault. I do not have Huangjin bloodline, my ability is shallow. Enough. Giant Sun Immortal interrupted him. Precisely because you do not have Huangjin bloodline, and your ability is shallow, I am giving you these opportunities to temper yourself and increase your ability. Heavenly Lord Baizu, Giant Sun Immortal continued. Continue negotiating with Feng Yuan, the primordial domain extraction method. I will absolutely not give it away. Tell Feng Yuan that among the 3 venerables, his progress is the slowest, and he has the least immortal essence. Advise him to judge the situation and cooperate with me. There will be great benefits. It can make up for the gap. A wise man should be able to see the situation clearly. Heavenly Lord Baizu asked again. Then Lord Giant Sun, how many blood path immortal goo can the primordial domain extraction method be exchanged for? Giant Sun Immortal was silent for a while. Hearing Heavenly Lord Baizu's words, Feng Yuan's plan was to deduce a rank 9 killer move using the refinement path venerable's foundation and extract the primordial domain. Although this method was time-consuming and laborious, it was indeed feasible. This way, the price of the primordial domain extraction method could not be so high. But as for the price, in Giant Sun Immortal's opinion, the more the better. Thus, he reprimanded Heavenly Lord Baizu. How many blood path immortal goo can be exchanged for will depend on how hard you work, and how loyal you are to my longevity heaven. Go, I will wait and see. Heavenly Lord Baizu felt extremely gloomy. He was under huge pressure, and contacted Feng Yuan again. Inside the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, there was a problem with the refinement path immortal materials processing. Feng Yuan was currently dividing the rivers, and getting rid of some of them. Heavenly Lord Baizu smiled. Lord Feng Yuan, I really cannot give you the primordial domain extraction method. Feng Yuan had secretly refined 2 rank 9 immortal goo. This was his greatest advantage now. But the other venerables also had advantages. The number of Dao marks refined by Giant Sun Immortal was definitely the highest among the 3 venerables. In his territory, he could fight 1 against 2 and hold the upper hand. The amplification of external Dao marks was huge. And even though Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was inferior to Giant Sun Immortal in this aspect, the number of Wisdom Path Dao marks refined was clearly higher than Feng Yuan's. Furthermore, Feng Yuan could guess that Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was definitely modifying her killer moves. Feng Yuan had almost no achievements in this aspect. He had 2 newly refined rank 9 immortal goo that were still warm, but he did not have a single rank 9 killer move. Feng Yuan's attainment in deducing killer moves was also far below Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. If the 3 venerables fought now, Feng Yuan's 2 rank 9 immortal goo would not be able to provide any direct help. The 2 venerables had something that Feng Yuan was envious of. Giant Sun Immortal had Longevity Heaven, while Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had Celestial Court. The 2 venerables had headquarters. As long as they hid in them, they would have a huge amplification. They would have the might of a true Dao Lord. Even if the other 2 venerables cooperated sincerely, they would not be able to do anything. This was an undefeatable position. No matter how the situation collapsed, as long as they had this headquarters, they would have a foothold and hope of counterattacking. But Feng Yuan did not have such a thing. The Sovereign Immortal Aperture was unstable to begin with. How could he use it as a battlefield? His foundation in this aspect could not compare to the other 2 venerables. After all, the 2 venerables had become venerables in their previous lives, while Feng Yuan was not even a rank 8 Gu immortal in his previous life. The main reason was that in Feng Yuan's previous life, Fate Gu was still around. Providence had purposely arranged for it. The venerables made arrangements. Feng Yuan could not go against heaven. Thus, if Feng Yuan lost, he would have no place to settle down. Feng Yuan thought about it for a long time, but could not make a decision. There was a crucial point in front of him. Whether he chose to refine or not, it would have a huge impact on his future plans. For example, if he chose to refine a rank 9 immortal goo that could be used in battle, Feng Yuan might have to personally attack and suppress the other venerables, expending their immortal essence and expanding his own immortal essence advantage. If he did not refine, the obscured heavenly secret could still last for some time. Using this time, Feng Yuan could secretly accumulate more advantages. It was up to Feng Yuan now. Insufficient information. Feng Yuan sighed deeply. Unlike the battle in Crazed Demon Cave that had just ended, the venerables had developed for some time. Their trump cards and methods had changed. The situation was not clear. It was not easy to make such a decision. Another advantage of choosing a direct confrontation was that he could forcefully obtain information. But Feng Yuan was suppressing 2 venerables at the same time. It felt a little unreliable. The other side had a headquarters, and if the 2 venerables were forced to work together, could Feng Yuan deal with them? As the confrontation between the 3 venerables continued to drag on, the importance of information became more obvious. Feng Yuan was not proficient in this aspect. Information Path was best at gathering information. Feng Yuan had never had a good achievement in this aspect. This was not to say that he had not grown in this aspect. Even though Li Xiaobai had high hopes placed on him in the past, he was only one of Fang Yuan's chess pieces now. Chapter 2285. Inside the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. Mini Western Desert. Mermaid Immortal Yuzi's face was pale as she looked at the flying sand cave in front of her, gasping for breath. The arrangement is finally complete, Yuzi muttered. The Rockman Gu Immortal Shanbai thanked her. Yuzi cultivates water path. It is truly difficult for you to arrange this kind of earth path resource point. But it's impossible for me to succeed if I were to do it alone. Rockmen were most proficient in earth path. This was the innate talent of their race. Originally, Shanbai and Guai had agreed to complete this kind of earth path resource point arrangement mission together. But not long ago, Fang Yuan ordered several Rockman Gu Immortals to be sent out of the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. Shanbai had no choice but to wait for others to cooperate with him. In the end, it was Yuzi who came. Although Yuzi was a water path Gu Immortal, she was still a rank 7 Gu Immortal. With Shanbai as the leader and Yuzi as the support, the two worked together and spent close to 10 days before they finally arranged this resource point and completed the mission. Seeing Shanbai thank her, Yuzi quickly said some humble words with a very polite attitude. She actually had her own plans. Flying Sand Cave, this kind of resource point, can be used as an earth vein node. After this kind of resource point is arranged, Lord Fang Yuan's clone will personally come to set up an immortal formation and turn this resource point into an earth vein node. This is a good opportunity for me to meet Lord Fang Yuan. Ever since Yuzi saw Fang Yuan's main body, her fighting spirit had been shaken. But after this period of time, she had thought it through. She did not have any extravagant hopes of getting together with Fang Yuan's main body. She placed her attention on Fang Yuan's clones. As long as she could get on Fang Yuan's good side and become one of Fang Yuan's fiancés, the merfolk's status would immediately be stabilized like an immovable mountain. Moreover, with this relationship, the merfolk's development would be greatly guaranteed. It was because of this that Yuzi accepted this mission and cooperated with Shanbai. A figure suddenly appeared in the horizon. It's Lord Wuxia, Shanbai said respectfully. It's coming, it's coming. Wuxia is Fang Yuan's Dragon Man clone. Yuzi's heart raced as she encouraged herself. The future of the merfolk race would depend on her to fight for it. Yuzi hurriedly swept her eyes over her attire. This time, she wore a rare pearl necklace that could constantly emit the fragrance of the sea breeze. Her colorful dress accentuated her slender figure, and her bright and spotless fish scales gave off a pure and flawless feeling. Yuzi nodded in satisfaction in her heart, and then she gathered her spirits and spun her beautiful eyes while revealing a faint smile on her face, and she tried her best to reveal her beautiful and moving side. Shanbai was dumbfounded. He instantly understood the Mermaid Immortal's plan. When Wuxia arrived above the flying sand cave, Yuzi said softly, "Greetings, Lord Wuxia." This voice caused Shanbai to shiver, and he hurriedly bowed in greeting. Wuxia nodded lightly. He glanced at the two of them before activating an investigative killer move to inspect the flying sand tunnel. After inspecting it 3 times, Wuxia said in satisfaction, "Not bad. You have arranged this flying sand tunnel very well." Saying so, Wuxia mobilized Immortal Gu, Mortal Gu, and many immortal materials to set up the immortal formation. Yuzi carefully sized up Wuxia. He had a broad body and handsome face. His tall nose bridge and firm lips made him look like a peerless warrior. His dragon eyes were amber in color. He had a pair of golden coral-like dragon horns on his forehead, and his body was covered in pure golden dragon scales that shone brightly. It was closer to the beauty of merfolk. Lord Fang Yuan is truly peerless in beauty, Yuzi praised in her heart. The beauty that Fang Yuan's main body gave her was a kind of shock, a feeling that she could only worship and look up to. It made Yuzi feel ashamed of her inferiority, and Wuxia's heroic appearance moved her heart. Several hours later, Wuxia finished setting up the immortal formation. Lord Wuxia has amazing methods indeed, Setting up the immortal formation is as easy as blowing off dust. Yuzi immediately praised. Wu Shuai smiled. I cannot make a conclusion yet, it depends on the actual effect. Step back and pay attention to your safety. The first activation of a newly created formation was rather dangerous. If the killer move collapsed, the Gu Immortal would suffer a backlash. If the immortal formation collapsed, not only would the Gu Immortal suffer a backlash, it would also cause the surrounding environment to change. After all, the formation was closely connected to the surrounding environment. Especially the formation of this kind of resource point. Once it collapsed, the huge amount of Dao marks in the resource point would change, and the damage would be huge. This was even more so in the environment of the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. This was all from experience. There had been several failures in setting up the immortal formation, causing chaos in the Dao marks and the environment to change. The loss of resource points was a small matter, but there were also terrifying abnormal situations. Wu Shuai carefully activated the formation. He cultivated enslavement path after all. The reason why he could set up the formation was because he shared his formation path attainment level with his main body. Thus, once a flaw appeared in the formation, it would be hard for Wu Shuai to deal with it with his methods. He was not a formation path Gu Immortal after all. The immortal formation started to activate. There were no accidents for the time being. Wu Shuai's gaze was like a torch, he did not relax. After a few breaths of time, Yuzi could not endure it anymore. She boldly approached Wu Shuai and said with a worshipful expression, Lord Wu Shuai, this immortal formation seems to have no problems. Wu Shuai did not look at her, he frowned slightly and sniffed. What is this smell? Yuzi's expression turned joyful. She was just about to pretend to be shy and say that this was the fragrance of pearls. But right at this time, there was a loud sound. Large amounts of stench gushed out of the flying sand cave. The surrounding 10 li was filled with an incomparably foul stench. Yuzi's expression was pale. She almost vomited on the spot. Her pearl fragrance was completely drowned, and the pure white pearl necklace was completely dyed black. Wu Shuai laughed heartily. Don't worry, this is the stench of the earth's lungs. This flying sand cave was moved here, but the methods used were not up to standard, causing the poisonous air to accumulate in the cave. But now it's all good. My great formation has automatically expelled it, and all the hidden dangers are gone. Congratulations, Lord Wu Shuai. Shambai quickly cheered. Yuzi forcefully endured the stench and also praised. This is all thanks to Lord Wu Shuai's outstanding methods. She boldly moved closer, trying her best to attract Wu Shuai's gaze. But right at this time, lumps of sand and rocks shot out from the flying sand cave. These sand and rocks were filled with moisture. They were not dry because the stench of the earth's lungs was still filled with a foul stench. Clumps of sand and stones flew into the air, and then immediately fell on the surrounding desert, making pitter-patter sounds. It was like she was having diarrhea. Yuzi looked at the sand and rocks in the air. Her heart was like dead ashes. In this situation, no matter how dazzling she was, Wu Shuai would not feel moved. After the sand and rocks shot out for a while, it became normal again. Large amounts of fine and dense dry sand spewed out from the flying sand cave. The sand flew high up into the sky, about 100 feet above the ground. Then like a drizzle, it sprinkled down. These were flying sand, they were immortal materials, they were very light. Even though they were only rank 6 immortal materials, there was a lot of them. Under the effect of the formation, the flying sand cave had already become one of the earth vein nodes. Wu Shuai nodded in satisfaction, saying with a joyful tone, This way, the Sovereign Immortal Aperture's earth vein has already completed the second circle. Before the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, even though it was also the second circle, there were very few nodes back then. How could it be as large as now? I absolutely believe that this world will get better and better. Yuzi echoed with deep sympathy. Wu Shuai took a glance at her before turning back to look at Shambai. Before flying away, Yuzi and Shambai quickly sent him off. Only when Wu Shuai vanished into the horizon did Yuzi retract her gaze and sigh deeply. She could not conceal her deep disappointment. Shambai smiled internally. He knew the mermaid's intentions, but did not look down on her. The mermaids had already stayed in the sovereign immortal aperture for some time. This period of time was neither long nor short. The mermaid Gu immortals' performance could be said to be very conscientious. Almost all the Gu immortals acknowledged them. The weak relied on the strong to survive. This was a wise survival strategy in Shanbai's opinion. He did not have any enmity. After all, the rockmen were all males. There was no competitive relationship between them. Thus, Shanbai pretended not to know. Next, I will continue to set up an Earth Path resource point. Fairy Yuzi, are you willing to continue working with me? Shanbai naturally hoped to cooperate with Earth Path Gu immortals, but the sovereign immortal aperture was really lacking in manpower. After all, Yuzi had worked with him before. They had some tacit understanding. Yuzi inquired about it in detail, before tactfully rejecting Shanbai with a difficult expression. The following Earth Path resource point could not bear the burden of the Earth Vein node. It also meant that without seeing Fang Yuan's clone, Yuzi would not have much motivation. Shanbai was quite understanding and suggested, "In my opinion, Fairy, you should take a good rest." Yuzi immediately felt strange. Only one thought appeared in her mind. Gu immortals in the sovereign immortal aperture can rest? Yuzi had lived here for some time. She had already realized that the Gu immortals here were all workaholics. What was rest? Now this was the first time she had heard the word rest from the Gu immortals here. Right now, Wang clan had only contacted a portion of the super forces. Fang clan's Gu immortals felt like they were sitting on pins and needles. While the immortals were discussing, Fang Lung also spoke. "Everyone, don't forget that we still have to face the most terrifying enemy, Celestial Court." Although according to the information, Celestial Court's Gu immortals have clearly stated that they will not interfere in Western Desert's internal affairs. It is precisely because of their guarantee that we cannot use Great Love Immortal Venerable's prestige to make those Western Desert super clans completely dispel their last layer of apprehension. What worries me the most is that Celestial Court sent 2 rank 8 Gu immortals. One of them is Wan Zihong, a famous demonic path expert in Western Desert's history. Once Wan Zihong was mentioned, Fang clan's Gu immortals immediately understood Fang Lung's meaning. Don't tell me this Wan Zihong is related to Wan clan. Wan Zihong is a demonic path Gu immortal. There is no evidence that she is related to Wan clan by blood. But without evidence, we can create evidence. If we really confirm that Wan Zihong is a member of Western Desert's Wan clan, then Celestial Court will have an official reason to interfere in Western Desert's internal affairs. Although this possibility is small, we have to guard against it. Many people nodded at Fang Lung's words. Fang Gong felt gratified. He had nurtured Fang Lung as his successor and watched him mature day by day. Especially during this period of time, his growth was very obvious. At this time, Fang Yun spoke. "In my opinion, our clan needs to seek Great Love Immortal Venerable's help. As long as this lord makes a move, no matter how many Western Desert super clans come, they will not be a problem. Only Great Love Immortal Venerable can contend against Celestial Court's star constellation Immortal Venerable." Fang Yun was Fang Dichang's successor. Different from Fang Lung's simple question, he directly stated the conclusion in his heart. During the period when Fang Dichang was captured, Fang Yun was the person in charge of Fang clan's Wisdom Path faction. This kind of experience not only gave him a lot of experience, it also increased his authority in the Fang clan. As for why he ignored Giant Sun Immortal, it was because Fang clan could not establish a connection with Giant Sun Immortal. In fact, even if they established a connection, Giant Sun Immortal would be suspicious. After all, Fang clan and Fang Yuan's relationship was too deep. Great Love Immortal Venerable has already sent several Rockman Gu immortals, but they are only responsible for receiving resource points. It is not that our clan did not request them before, but Great Love Immortal Venerable does not seem to want to interfere. Fang Lung frowned as he answered. Fang clan placed some resource points in Jewel Yellow Skies and openly transacted with Fang Yuan. Another batch of resource points were secretly transacted with Fang Yuan. This naturally could not be done through Jewel Yellow Skies. The biggest disadvantage of jewel yellow skies was that it would be completely exposed. Resource points were countable and recorded. Only transactions in the dark could be concealed. The possibility of Great Love Immortal Venerable taking action personally is too low, and our clan cannot afford to pay such a price. At this time, Fang Dichang finally spoke. He had been silent all along. Besides him, Fang Gong and Fang Huasheng were also doing this. These three were the true authorities of Fang clan. They would not easily express their thoughts. They were also giving Fang Yin, Fang Leng, and the others a chance to train themselves. Super forces were different from lone Gu immortals. They usually place great emphasis on nurturing their younger generation Gu immortals. Once Fang Dichang spoke, everyone else shut up. They stared at Fang Dichang quietly, their gazes showing clear trust. Fang Dichang suddenly smiled as he continued. Don't worry, I have already deduced. The possibility of star constellation Immortal Venerable taking action is extremely low. During the confrontation, Venerables will try to avoid fighting each other directly. They will not take action because of us. Don't overestimate yourself. In the eyes of a Venerable, we are as insignificant as ants. Fang clan's immortals listened quietly and nodded. Most of them had strange expressions. This might be the first time they felt glad that they were too weak and were looked down upon. Next, Fang Dichang changed the topic. But we still need to transact with Fang Yuan. We need to rely on Fang Yuan, like before, to exchange for more support from him. Fang Gong immediately understood the meaning behind his words and frowned. Ever since we invaded Wang clan's territory, we have already taken out many of Wang clan's resource points to transact with Fang Yuan in exchange for Immortal Gu and so on. Fang Yuan has sent Rockman Gu immortals to receive them day and night, but they are still too busy. Fang Dichang shook his head. But it is not enough. We need more Immortal Gu houses. Once the battle starts, you will be the only rank 8 in our clan, and Wang clan's alliance army will likely have several of them. Even if they do not have them now, once the battle situation turns bad, they will reinforce us at any time. So we need Immortal Gu houses. Only then can Fang clan's rank 6 and rank 7 Gu houses be of use. Only then can they protect their lives in the battlefield, and to a certain extent rely on the Immortal Gu houses to advance and retreat freely. Fang clan's immortals were silent. Fang Dichang heaved a sigh. We can all see the current situation is very grim. Our Fang clan is standing against all of Western Desert's righteous path. We cannot directly raise our cultivation level, and we do not have enough Immortal Yuan stone. But the Celestial Court can provide Immortal Yuan stone. We need to deal a heavy blow to this wave of anti-Fang Alliance army and cause them huge losses. Otherwise, even if we manage to survive this crisis, there will be a second and third wave of anti-Fang Alliance army. How many waves can our Fang clan resist? In fact, we can only resist this first wave, and we have already used all our strength. This is a penetrating insight. Fang Huasheng praised. Fang Dichang took the opportunity to propose the transaction of Black-Yellow Earth Pool and the other 2 resource points. Fang clan's immortals were greatly shaken. Black-Yellow Earth Pool is a super resource point. It is absolutely extraordinary. It is Wang clan's number 1 resource point, Wang clan's pride. Are we going to sell it so easily? The long-term profits will be extremely impressive. Fang Dichang did not speak. He only looked at Fang Gong. Fang Gong pondered for a moment before saying directly, I agree, let's do this. Fang Dichang smiled lightly. At the crucial moment, Fang Gong did not disappoint him. He continued, we can discuss other resource points later, but we must openly trade this Black-Yellow Earth Pool with Fang Yuan. Good plan. Fang Yun immediately reacted, his eyes shining brightly. When they learned of Fang clan's decision, Shi Guobai and the rest were shocked. Fang clan's resolution is too deep. Most importantly, we have no way to demolish such a super resource point. Shi Guobai and the other Rockman Gu immortals felt awkward. They only had rank 7 cultivation level, while this super resource point was at rank 8 level. Don't worry, Great Love Alliance leader has already expected this. Lu Weiyin's sudden appearance immediately dispelled the awkwardness of the Rockman Gu immortals. Lu Weiyin had joined the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance, He naturally came here on Fang Yuan's orders. His defense was top-notch among pseudo-venerables. He could match the two immortals of Celestial Court. Moreover, he cultivated Earth Path. It was not difficult for him to demolish black-yellow Earth Pool. This was killing many birds with one stone. It could be seen that Lu Weiyin was the most suitable person to go to Western Desert. Chapter 2287. Bai Ningbing's divine sense was roaming around in jewel-yellow skies. She looked at the distant primordial domain, as well as Fang Yuan's will above it, and fell into hesitation. Should I transact with Fang Yuan as well? During this period of time, Bai Ningbing had been cultivating in the depths of Earth Trench, risking her life to explore. There were often immemorial desolate beasts roaming around underground. There were all sorts of fortuitous encounters amidst the risks. During this period of time, Bai Ningbing had collected many immortal materials, and also discovered many natural resource points, most of which were Earth Path. Refining immortal goo is too difficult. If I can borrow Fang Yuan's strength, it will definitely be of great help to me. Bai Ningbing was gradually moved. According to her understanding of Fang Yuan would basically agree to her request. But Bai Ningbing had her misgivings. On one hand, she could not directly dismantle these Earth Path resource points and put them into jewel-yellow skies. Bai Ningbing mainly cultivated Ice and Snow Path, and as a dragon man with Enslavement Path talent, she did not have any suitable immortal goo to excavate Earth Path resource points. On the other hand, Bai Ningbing was worried that the secret of the rich resources deep underground would be exposed, and Fang Yuan's greed would be aroused. Fang Yuan might not do it himself, but if he sent his subordinates, Bai Ningbing would feel uneasy. After all, Shen Shang and Lu Weiyin had joined Fang Yuan. Just as Bai Ningbing was hesitating, an Earth Path resource point suddenly appeared in jewel-yellow skies. Next, a treasure light burst out of this Earth Path resource point, forming a huge pillar of light that soared to the sky. This is a super resource point. Even with Bai Ningbing's vast knowledge, she was greatly shocked. At this moment, all the wills and divine senses of the Gu immortals in jewel-yellow skies were fluctuating intensely. Oh my god, am I seeing things? A super resource point, an Earth Path super resource point. This kind of resource point is something that even super forces will fight for. But it was actually sold here. Unimaginable. Which prodigal would do such a thing? How can we live like this? No matter which prodigal it is, who should he sell these resource points to? Who else could it be? It must be Great Love Immortal Venerable. Sure enough, as the immortals expected, this Earth Path super resource point was successfully taken over by Fang Yuan's will. Soon, the resource points were moved from jewel-yellow skies to the sovereign immortal aperture. A public transaction was completed. The jewel-yellow skies were still shaking. The Fang clan of the Western Desert and Fang Yuan have made a public deal. It's Fang clan that sold this Earth Path super resource point. I found out. This super resource point is the black-yellow Earth Pond. It originally didn't belong to Fang clan, but Wang clan's #1 resource point. So it's an item from the Wang clan. I understand now. Wang clan has been visiting the Western Desert Righteous Path superpowers to form an anti-Fang alliance. Fang clan is really ruthless to sell this resource point. The Gu immortals of the 5 regions were discussing this matter. The Wan clan soon found out. How can this be? Wan Jueqing's eyes were red with hatred as he gritted his teeth. Fang clan is too despicable, too despicable. Wan Zhao's expression was ashen. This was a typical case of a child selling his father's land without any pain. Fang clan did not touch their super resource point. They directly sold Wan clan's super resource point. They even chose to make a public transaction. This scheme was really vicious. Wan Haoguang also had a headache. This was because he had already negotiated with the Xiao family about the black-yellow earth pond. Xiao clan sent several Gu immortal experts to participate in the anti-Fang alliance, and formed a close alliance with Wan clan in the future to help the heavily injured Wan clan regain their territory. But now, the black-yellow earth pond was gone. It was sold to Fang Yuan by Fang clan. Who was Fang Yuan? Great Love Immortal Venerable. Heaven refining demon venerable. Did Wang clan dare to ask for the black-yellow earth pond from Fang Yuan? Did Xiao clan dare? Even if they had 10,000 guts, they would not dare to do so. Sure enough, not long after, Xiao Yi who came to find them. Friends from Wang clan, there is a change in the situation. We need to negotiate. Xiao Yi who said with a heavy expression. Wan Hao Guang and the others also had unsightly expressions. After negotiating with Xiao Yi who again, Wang clan's immortals' expressions became even more unsightly. This group of greedy and shameless people. Wan Hao Guang clenched his fists. The transaction between Wang clan and Xiao clan was modified several times. The black-yellow earth pond was removed, and Wang clan added several giant resource points. Xiao clan guaranteed their benefits. Xiao Yi who left in satisfaction. Wang clan's immortals were filled with anger and hatred, but also helplessness and bitterness. What could they do? If we want these righteous path forces to join the anti-Fang alliance, our Wang clan will have to pay a corresponding price. Xiao clan is the super force that contributed the most, so we have to pay the most to them. They are throwing stones at us when we are down. Sigh, in the entire righteous path, Tang clan has the most righteous path demeanor. That's right, I did not notice it before. Now that we are in danger, we can see their demeanor. Tang clan's price is the lowest. Although Tang clan is not strong, when our Wang clan recaptures our territory in the future, we should interact more with Tang clan. This makes sense. Tang clan is the model of the righteous path. Just as Wang clan was discussing, the rank 7-time path Gu Immortal Tang Lan Ke sent by Tang clan was secretly contacting Fang Yuan. Reporting to Lord Xiao Yi who took the initiative to find Wang clan's immortals, and secretly negotiated for a long time before leaving. Looking at his expression, he seems to be satisfied. Fang Yuan nodded and deduced the truth. It seems that Wang clan ceded black-yellow earth pond in exchange for Xiao clan's support. Fang clan's plan has already taken effect. Continue to hide and gather information. Yes, Lord. Inside the sovereign immortal aperture. Because the flow of time here was even faster, many days had already passed by. Around an earth vein node, an abnormal situation was happening. A yellowish-brown fog surrounded this earth vein node. Rocks that looked like darts kept flying out of the yellow mist, swooshing towards the nodes of the earth meridians. Yu accepted the protection mission, and was facing the countless flying rocks alone. She was surrounded by water vapor and waved her hands, creating huge waves that submerged the flying rocks. Ever since Yu parted ways with Shi Sanbai, she had accepted his suggestion, and purposely chose a mission. She wanted to do as much as she could, and vent the depression in her heart. This was the mission that she had accepted. At first she shook the wind and clouds. Her moves were majestic and powerful. She was free and unrestrained. But this abnormal situation continued until now, and was not completely suppressed by Yu. Yu's current expression was anxious and depressed. Why am I so unlucky? I casually chose a mission, but it is actually so troublesome. These days I have already expended a lot of immortal essence. Do I have to pay out of my own pocket, and ask others to help me? Just as Yu was hesitating, the yellow fog suddenly expanded, and the number of flying rocks doubled. Yu was caught off guard and could not block them. She could only watch as many flying rocks shot towards the earth vein node. Damn it! Yu cursed in anger and shock. She had accepted this mission to protect the earth vein node. But if the earth vein node was destroyed, she would have to deduct her contribution points. At the crucial moment, a figure suddenly appeared. He waved his hand lightly as dreamlike pink light sand scattered into the yellow fog. This is a Dream Path Killer move. Yu was surprised and overjoyed. Dream Path Killer moves were indeed effective. The yellow fog rapidly shrank, and the danger was resolved. This lowly girl Yu greets Lord Meng Qiuzhen. Yu quickly bowed. She was extremely excited. This was truly fortune and misfortune. To be able to see another clone of Lord Fang Yuan, because of this, it was truly fortunate. Are you all right? Meng Qiuzhen asked warmly. Yu raised her head and saw that this Meng Qiuzhen had a head of pink wavy hair. He looked dreamy and ethereal. His eyes were extremely enchanting. The lines of his face were gentle and smooth. His smile and concern made her feel a warm feeling in her heart. So beautiful. Yuzi was dumbfounded as she thought to herself. Even though Meng Qiuzhen only had rank 6 cultivation level, being cared for by him, Yuzi felt a sense of security. She then thought of her scheme, and immediately became even more delicate, covering her face as she said with tears, "Many thanks for Lord Meng Qiuzhen's concern." This lowly girl used all her strength to barely protect the earth vein node. But this lowly girl was unable to protect the formation around the earth vein node. Meng Qiuzhen nodded. "I remember this formation. I was the one who set it up." According to the environment at that time, the formation base was buried underground. The formation structure was rather loose, so I constructed a formation membrane. Yes, Yuzi felt the same way. The formation membrane is too fragile. I repaired it many times, but the moment I repaired it, it would break again. Meng Qiuzhen stared at Yuzi. He suddenly stretched out his arms and pulled her into his embrace, moving his hands all over her body. He pinched here and caressed there. Yuzi was dumbfounded. Her entire body stiffened like a statue. Why did it suddenly become like this? The styles of Lord Feng Yuan's clones were so different. If I knew this, wouldn't it be better to just look for Lord Meng Qiuzhen? Meng Qiuzhen, such a good name. Dreams come true. An intense feeling of bliss spread throughout Yuzi's body. Her stiff body quickly softened as she shrunk into Meng Qiuzhen's embrace, looking up at Meng Qiuzhen's face with a blushing face. But at the next moment, Meng Qiuzhen said calmly, "The problem is indeed with you. You have already been contaminated." "Well, what?" Yuzi was stunned. Chapter 2288. Yuzi's face was deathly pale. Her eyes were dark and heavy. She walked into Star Collection City absent-mindedly. After working hard for more than 10 days without rest, she finally finished arranging black-yellow earth pool with the help of 2 other Gu immortals. "Isn't this fair, Yuzi? I heard you were in charge of arranging black-yellow earth pool?" A Gu immortal took the initiative to greet Yuzi. Yuzi quickly raised her spirits and replied, "Our luck is really good. This mission rewards a lot of contribution points. I was busy back then. Otherwise I would have also taken on such a mission." Another Gu immortal spoke to Yuzi. Yuzi quickly smiled and nodded to the person. The 2 immortals brushed past each other and soon separated. This was the style of the sovereign immortal aperture's Gu immortals. Always in a hurry. They were simply racing against time. "You don't seem to be in a good state. Quickly go to Liver Life Hall." Lian Koexian saw Yuzi and said with a concerned expression, "You are here too?" Yuzi saw a Gu immortal of the same tribe and immediately relaxed. Lian Koexian nodded. "I just came out of Liver Life Hall. The Sovereign Immortal Aperture has added black-yellow earth pool. There are so many super resource points here." Yuzi had the same feeling. "As far as I know, there are Rolling Waterfall Jumping Cliff, 3 Sacred Mountain, Divine Needle Valley, Hanjiao Deep Pool, Needle Forest Snowfield, Water Spider Sea, Heavenly Crystal Storage Pool. Now that we have deepened this black-yellow earth pool, there are definitely others." Before Lian Koexian and Yuzi entered the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, they were the authoritative figures of the Merman Imperial Court. They naturally knew the value of super resource points. Normally speaking, resource points were divided into several grades: micro resource points, small resource points, and medium resource points produced rank 1 to rank 5 cultivation resources. Large resource points could produce rank 6 resources stably, and occasionally rank 7 resources. Large resource points could produce rank 7 cultivation resources stably. Super resource points were at rank 8 level, and ultimate resource points were those secluded domains of heaven and earth. A super resource point could cause super forces to fight for it with all their strength. They would not hesitate to fight for it. The super forces of the 5 regions all controlled super resource points. Some had more than 10, while others had 3 or 4. The super forces here naturally did not include Celestial Court and Longevity Heaven. Strictly speaking, the Celestial Court and Longevity Heaven were the ultimate forces. Now, Feng Yuan's forces were definitely the ultimate forces. There were more than 10 super resource points in the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. It was just that the Mermaid Immortals had not been here for long. They did not come into contact with them. The sovereign immortal aperture's foundation grew again. This is a good thing. But I'm worried that strange things will happen more frequently. Lien Kursen was both happy and worried. Resource points had dense Dao marks. After being moved into the sovereign immortal aperture, the number of Dao marks increased sharply. Right now, the mermaid immortals already understood the source of the abnormality. Lien Koexian was very worried. So was Yuzi, she sighed. Master sent several Gu immortals out. The sovereign immortal aperture is lacking manpower again. During this period of time, the number of missions on the mission board continued to increase. The speed at which Gu immortals completed missions could not keep up with the speed at which they were created. Sigh, if Master could bring in more Gu immortals, that would be great. Lien Koexian nodded and analyzed. I also hope to have more companions. But rashly bringing in Gu immortals from the 5 regions is not appropriate. On one hand, we need to eliminate the suspicion of spies and spies. On the other hand, the races are equal here. If we bring in those arrogant human Gu immortals, it might ruin the atmosphere here. Perhaps his lord also has such concerns. The two conversed as they walked. Liver Life Hall was at the end of the street. Yuzi looked at the Liver Life Hall and suddenly understood. I heard that the previous Liver Life Hall was only a Liver Life Great Formation. Master spent so much effort to modify it into an immortal Gu house. It was a wise move. Immortal formations were closely connected to the surroundings, while immortal Gu houses were independent entities. Strange things happened frequently in the sovereign immortal aperture. All the immortal formations were tested, but immortal Gu houses were not affected. Yuzi sighed again. I am still a little worried. Don't you feel that Master's concept of managing the immortal aperture is a little too radical? Right now, the sovereign immortal aperture is like walking on a tightrope. We have to work hard to maintain this fragile balance. Even so, we are slipping into the abyss of failure. Lien Koexian squinted her eyes. Maybe this style is one of the reasons for Master's legendary rise. Right now, the sovereign immortal aperture is indeed like a glutton. It is already suffering from indigestion, but is still devouring. We are building Dao veins everywhere, but not the root cause. If we don't solve the root cause, the abnormal situation will continue. Yuzi shook her head. During this period of time, I saw Lord Wu Shuai and Lord Meng Qiuzhen. Both of them were dazzling and beautiful beyond compare. I don't believe such beautiful existences are not aware of the root cause here. We are only minor characters. How can we understand Master's considerations? That's right. This is not something we should worry about. Lien Koexian patted Yuzi's hand. All right, Yuzi, Liver Life Hall is right in front of us. I won't accompany you in. I still have a mission to complete. Yuzi bid farewell to Lien Koexian. She did not tell Lien Koexian about her abnormality. Yuzi walked into the Liver Life Hall with ease. Yuzi had come to this mystical immortal Gu house many times. She was no stranger to it. She thought it would be smooth this time, but she did not expect an accident to happen. Bam! Liver Life Hall shook, alerting the nearby Gu immortals. Looks like someone's liver exploded again. Hehe, this is not a good feeling. No matter who it is, he or she is much luckier than me. The healing hall was just constructed not long ago. Thus, when Yuzi woke up, she found that she was no longer in Liver Life Hall. She was lying on a large porcelain plate. The surroundings were filled with dazzling white light that almost made her unable to open her eyes. When she finally adapted to this light, she saw a lump of wool floating in the air, looking down at her. This lump of wool condensed into the appearance of Feng Yuan's main body. Yuzi quickly stood up to greet, but was stopped by Feng Yuan's will. Don't move. Your liver has already exploded. Your injuries are not light. Also, there are still some Dao marks hidden in your body. Although they were temporarily suppressed by dream path methods, they are showing signs of relapse now. Yuzi immediately panicked. She did not want to grow hair and mold in front of Feng Yuan's main body's will. Of course, her current appearance was also very pitiful. After her liver exploded, her stomach was split open, half of her ribs were blown away, and her internal organs were all injured. Yuzi looked up at Feng Yuan's will and quickly called out, Please save me, master. I have enough contribution points. Fang Yuan's nodded. You have enough contribution points. Then I have a few treatment methods for you to choose from. The first is to use a time path killer move to restore you to your previous state. The second is to transplant an ancient desolate beast's liver to you, and then use transformation path methods to perfectly fuse this liver with your body, as if it was one with you. The third method is a refinement path method. It will first refine the different Tao marks in your body, and then refine a new liver for you. The fourth method is the most recommended. This is an immortal killer move called salt water liver. After you cultivate it, you will be able to create a new liver. This liver not only has water path Tao marks, but also food path Tao marks. With this liver, you will be able to cultivate food path in the future. Compared to an ordinary Gu Immortal's liver, salt water liver can last longer and be strengthened by liver life hall. Moreover, if you fall into a desperate situation in the future, with no way out and lacking food, you can eat this liver to fill your stomach. And the fifth method is, Fang Yuan's spoke eloquently, listing more than 10 treatment methods. After listening carefully, Yuzi asked about the price. She eventually found that the safest and least risky method was the first time path method. But because she cultivated water path, the time path killer move's effect was not obvious. To have an obvious effect, she would have to pay a higher price. Thus, the first method was not cost-effective. The second method had the best effect. As long as Yuzi could afford it, she could transplant an immemorial desolate beast's liver into her body. The lowest price was the refinement path method, which was also the third method. The fourth method was the most cost-effective. Saltwater liver, huh? Yuzi thought for a moment before nodding. I will choose this. While Yuzi was healing in Western Desert, Xiao Yihu looked at Wan Hao Guang frowning. Mud Plow Beach is gone, Fragrance Flying Island is also gone. They have been publicly traded by Fang Clan to Heaven Refining Demon Venerable. The transaction between us needs to be modified. Wan Hao Guang had a pained expression. Xiao Yihu, you have already come here to discuss with me no less than 5 times, right? Is it appropriate to change it like this? According to my previous suggestion, we should attack Fang Clan as soon as possible and chase them away, then change the details of the transaction according to the situation, right? Xiao Yihu shook his head, sighing deeply. Wan Hao Guang, this is very risky. Your clan's resource points have almost all been sold by Fang Clan. Even if you succeed in suppressing Fang Clan, can you take out enough compensation? After all, you have already contacted all the super forces in Western Desert. Among the price you have to pay to invite these people, can you satisfy my Xiao clan first? Wan Hao Guang felt a headache. He was just about to appease Xiao Yihu when suddenly, heaven and earth shook and thunder rumbled. Their base had been ambushed. Fang Clan again. Such guts, we did not attack them, but they actually dared to send themselves to death. Fight! After the anti-Fang Alliance army reacted, they retaliated furiously. Wang Clan's Gu Immortals were especially furious. It was this group of shameless scoundrels who sold their resource points. They had to modify the transaction every few days. It was a huge headache. Fang Clan mobilized 3 immortal Gu houses this time. Fang Clan's immortals were also furious. It's you. You forced our Fang Clan to sell our resource points. Bam bam bam. Both sides were filled with anger and hatred. The moment they fought, heaven and earth shook, sand and rocks flew. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.